Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hood Report. My name is Donovan Lawler. Sitting with me today, as usual, we have Leif from Chutch. Leif, how you doing?
Doing well.
You been getting some love from the Chutch episode?
Yeah, it was.
Oh man, we have such a great set this week, and it lasted about 5 seconds into the show. What went down here? 1 second.
I think that was the ghost.
The ghost of the
making
shop.
an appearance because it's
That
Halloween.
was the scooter
Spooky
ghost.
episode, Halloween
true.
episode. The ghost knocked down our Casey Tratz board from Ramblin', so little promo for Casey. And what else do we got?
East Side Rolling Board.
East Side Rolling Board. Anyways, Leif's here today, as usual. Also sitting in with us, we have Minty from a record shop in Sandy. How we doing, Minty?
Good morning. Doing great.
Glad to have you. And we also have Mike, owner of BDK, finally sitting in the booth. Mike, how are you?
Good morning. Doing good.
Thank you guys for joining us today. It's nice and early, but we're happy to be here. We have a very special episode. It is the Sandy Skate Park edition. So we are going to be talking all about the skate park. The new park is coming in, and the old park is gone. So we're going to be paying some homage to the old park. We got some submissions from the old Sandy skaters that we'll be playing here towards the end of the episode. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But first, let's just dive right into some hood news. Not too much going on. It's still the fall, but it did snow. We had the first dusting of the year.
Very
Powdered
nice.
sugar.
Yep, notice that.
Yep. I think it snowed like 2 inches, and then it melted pretty much instantly. But
Yeah, I think a couple of people went snowboarding, but I didn't. Did you go up there, Donovan?
I did not.
Okay.
But I did see that Pinky and Topher went up there, and if you guys know the dome up there on the mile, it's kind of like go-to early
Classic
season spot.
Yep.
But they went and they scraped all the snow that was there into a tiny little like sidewalk of snow. Like I don't think that it should have been able to go down, but they were able to make it go down, and had a good session up there. It looked like so. First session's on Hood going down.
Nice.
Who else was up there? I saw that Dole Blades had himself a
Yeah, I think
PDC
there was a
session.
couple other clips.
So shout outs to you guys, but the one that really stood out is Pinky and Topher going up there and like putting in probably half a day's worth of work just to be able to have a narrow strip of fresh snow to be able to jib. So because of that, we are saying that you guys are our scum of the week this week. So
Dedication.
You are one scum of the week.
Pinky, you are the scum of the week this week. Congratulations to you, sir. We actually have sponsors for scum of the week now.
Oh, nice. Who is it?
We have U Golf is Matt Degner. Do you guys know Matt Degner?
I don't know, Matt. I don't think.
Matt, it's Minty, I'm sure.
A little bit.
He's been in the shop. Matt's like
I don't know last names, but I know faces
Yeah,
and first
same.
names.
Okay. He's someone that we all grew up skating at the Sandy Skate Park together. And he started a company called U Golf, where it's a traveling trailer that can show up to like people's birthday parties or like office events. And it's a 3D golf simulation.
I think I saw that guy at the pumpkin patch.
Yeah, he's been around town doing it. So it's not skating, not snowboarding, but it is a skater-owned business, and they are available for rent. So hit them up. I think you can find them at UGolf, YOU. But they're donating some merch, so Pinky, you got to go get your golf on.
So I was going to almost nominate Matt Degner for Scum of the Week because he put those Sandy skate park rails aside for us to use at Ski Bowl. So it's probably good that he didn't win his own prize.
True. Yeah, we should let's give him some flowers real fast. So Matt also works for the city of Sandy and was part of he was the hands-on dude that was there tearing out the old Sandy skate park and was able to save some of the features from there and get them donated up to the Ski Bowl rope tow.
Yep.
I'm sure I've met him before then.
Yeah. And it was appropriate. He posted this photo of him like on his hands and knees with his fist to the sky, like in the rubble of the old Sandy skate park. It was so appropriate.
So what did he donate for Scum of the Week? Some rounds of golf?
We have some golf balls, and I believe he's donating some hats and stuff. They're branded golf balls. And also, we have another sponsor for Scum of the Week. Goblin Wizard Beanies is donating some beanies that are handmade here in the Northwest. It's a mother-owned business. She's just at home busting out beanies. So
Cool.
make sure to go support.
Pinky got some good prizes.
Yeah, you're going to be warm and you're going to be golfing. So shout outs to everyone that's supporting Scum of the Week. That's awesome. It's turned into a little NASCAR here. Got a couple sponsors on the hood, you know. But that's going down. We also have our first Patreon supporters. So thank you guys. Do you guys know what Patreon is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been around for a little bit.
Yeah. So
You can quit your day job soon.
I
Who-
mean,
who was
I'll
the-
know if we're there. Yeah.
Nice.
Who was the Patreon supporter? Do you know?
Man, don't put me on spot like that.
Oh, you didn't write 'em down?
I should have. I'm sorry. Next
They know who they
episode,
are.
you're getting a plug for
Oh,
sure.
okay. Cool.
And we're gonna figure out a way to get back to our Patreon supporters. I was thinking the other day, maybe like a sticker that says like "I support the Hood Report" that you
Yeah.
can only get if you're a Patreon supporter. I know it's not much, but
That's cool.
it's something.
Well,
Kinda
and you
playing off
got
like the OPB like membership drive kind of a vibe, you know?
yeah, and you got some merch made, so coming soon, right?
Yeah, we got
Yeah, it looks good.
Hood Report merch, fresh off the print here from the Print Works at BDK. So
Right next door.
yeah, thank
Made
you.
last
workshop.
night, right?
Yep, hot off the
Still
press.
hot.
Okay.
Hot off the press.
So maybe some Patreon supporters will have some merch, or
Well, we're
Yeah.
gonna. I need to wrap my head around what we're gonna do with that still, and we're gonna have once we figure out how we're gonna distribute this to the people, you guys will be aware of how to get your hands on some of the merch here. So
If you stop by the shop, you most likely will be able to get in contact with you.
yeah,
There might be some merch here.
we'll let them know. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
we need to have that
Could be on the
conversation
rack.
still.
Anything's possible.
If we put the pressure of a live episode on the people trying to make it happen, all of a sudden the deal's done. Cool. So that's going down. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. If you guys want to support us, links are available on our social media. And like I said, we will have ways to get back to you shortly. Ripping through the hood news here because we really want to get to the skate park and we want to talk about the shops here. What else do we have? I saw the local kids were able to go and skate Nike. I saw some clips from Angel there, so respect
Nice.
to those guys.
I
Well
think I saw
deserved.
Danny.
Yeah, Danny was in there too.
Yeah. Danny and Angel, I think, made a trip up last week.
Yeah. It was cool to be able to pop in and see them here in the shop. It just makes you feel good to be like, there's a healthy skate scene here at BDK. Some of the local kids are ripping. They're doing it right, and I feel like the torch is passing in a good way.
I definitely get that question a lot, what the scene is like in Sandy, Estacada, Govey. You know, it's a good triangle.
Yeah. How do you feel it is? Do you think we got a good healthy scene here in your opinion?
I think so. And with the new park, which we'll talk about later, even better.
Yeah, it's about to be a good catalyst. I think that, what do they say, you're just pre-positioned well for a moment of opportunity with the new park coming in, to where the skate scene here can explode again for a second time, just like it did back in the 90s, which I got to kind of ride that wave as a young kid, and it was really special. And we'll get into that. I might cry this episode. We'll see. You know, we're going to talk about some sacred ground to me, the OG Sandy Skate Park.
I won't feel bad if I get emotional as well then.
Okay, yeah.
You know, you're talking about the skate scene here, and I think that it's pretty telling that, you know, earlier this summer, we didn't have the park here. You know, we were skating Estacada, and I was just sitting there after I destroyed myself and couldn't skate anymore. I was just sitting on the bench watching all you guys skate on a Thursday night, and I was, like, filled with this, like, warmth. It wasn't like warmth, it was warmth. And just, like, happiness. And just like us feeling of like, wow, like I had no idea that our scene was so great. When I moved to Sandy, I way undersold it in my head. I didn't know that there was such a tight community here. And yeah, it's just surprised me all the way along. And yeah,
Well,
there's something to be said about that.
welcome in, brother. We're happy you're here, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah. We're
I
Minty's a
finally
fun
made
dude to shred with, yep. Couple last items here on the Hood News. The Sandy snowboard team is looking for support. They reached out to the podcast. Apparently, the Sandy high school snowboard team is not school funded. They have to generate their own funds to provide their transportation to the hill, to pay for coaches, and they compete at the USASA Hood Series.
yeah,
I
and I
get my
think they
acronyms
have a
right.
state competition
Yeah.
at Meadows.
I think so
Yeah.
at Meadows.
So
Yeah, so it's cool. It's
and
a way
Sandy's
of
always
getting-
good too. So if you support, you could get your name out there.
I never got to join it. As you know, I went to Estacada. which is like the next town over, and we did not have a snowboard team. And the fact that there's a school that has a snowboard team kind of blows my mind. Like, I would have freaked out to join that. So definitely, if you guys want to support, hit them up. I'm sure you'll be able to figure out where the link is and help them to be able to do their thing. Mike, are you a supporter? They've mentioned you when they hit me up.
We have supported, I can't remember how many years, but every year that
Heck
we
yeah.
can. I did notice, they will take donations, from everyone. You don't have to be a shop, in other words, to be a co-sponsor.
Yeah, anyone who wants to help support local youth snowboarding can go and donate there.
Yep.
So help them out. Hopefully they have a good year. Hopefully it's a good snow year. And yeah, looking forward to you guys doing good things out there. All right, so what else do we got? We did a little bit more work up at the DIY, probably the last pour for the season. The quarter finally got poured. That's been framed out for a while up there. That thing's going to be fun.
Yeah, should be great.
Did you guys see any clips of that?
Leif sent me a photo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked pretty sweet.
I'm excited for it because it's like a little like knee-high quarter pipe that you could pop in and you could hit it street style like a ledge and then like kind of cut into the
There's a
transition
little room behind
too.
it on
Yeah.
the deck that you can slide.
Did you skate at the DIY at all this summer, Minty?
I definitely rolled through a couple times. That place makes me feel like I need to skate better. Like
It is really hard.
That's a DIY. That's
Yeah.
proper
like,
DIY.
I know
very
what
humbling.
I'm doing, and then I go to skate it, and my body's like, "What? No, you got to try harder, buddy."
Yeah.
It's
It's on a
awesome.
mild incline. Could be smoother
Yeah,
concrete.
it's uphill both ways, mildly.
Yeah. Makes you a good skater.
It's awesome. I mean, I'm just flabbergasted that it exists. We're not going to talk too much about the specifics, obviously, because it's a DIY. But like, just where it's located, I'm like, how does this even work? And how has it been going so long? And like, the people who might shut it down know about it, and are like, just keep it cool, guys. And everybody's been doing that, and it's pretty amazing too, to have a really unorganized group of lots of people kind of following this unsaid rule. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of
Let's make this
self-governing in a way. It's doing its thing fine. So
yeah, fun stuff. So
yeah, thank you
Leif,
everyone that's helped out.
Is this the first time you did concrete finishing work?
No, I actually helped with the original quarter pipe on the left-hand side, and then we made that other clamshell this summer too. So those were the 2 times I helped out.
Strong work.
Yeah, our buddy CJ Culligan, shout him out. He actually did most of the finishing work, and he did a really nice
another
job.
runner-up for Scum of the Week
Yep.
because of he finally got everyone together to get some work done up there.
Yeah, and you need to
Also,
mention
shout out to Riley,
sorry, Charlie.
Charlie too. But
Hey,
no,
you got to mention the unsung heroes, the people that are just moving heavy ass bags of concrete.
yeah, there's
It takes
Yeah, that was
There's
mostly
also a
me,
lot of hands
or
up
mostly
there.
us. I didn't do much of the finishing.
we were a lot of unskilled labor.
It's all
Yeah.
important.
But that gets the job done. All right, that's kind of what I had for hood news. Other than, of course, we got a new skate park opening here in a couple days. Was there anything else that you think we should have added on for just local hood news?
I think that's you can put your snow tires on November 1st.
Oh,
your
yeah.
studded snow
That's right.
tires.
Dude, I saw the Gubby 500 put out like their version of like a season edit yesterday.
Of people crashing?
Yeah, just a montage.
Do you guys have studded snow tires? Do you guys run that?
I
do.
have all terrain.
Mike does. Yep.
All terrain and a Subi, so I've never had an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Do you,
never put my.
do you
chains on.
already have your snow tires on, Mike?
I do not.
Okay.
I usually wait until the last minute,
Okay, I don't have mine on yet
but
either.
I can switch mine out at home
Dude, I've ran
because I have separate rims. So.
I've ran studs on a Subaru before, and you're like, I think they call it like Colorado style, and
That's what I got.
you're invincible.
Well, I
great.
have a-
It's quite the sense of confidence, you know.
I have a Jeep and I run studded snow because
Yeah.
I just don't want to think about it.
Yeah, be chilling.
Just not
Don't-
be on the Govy 500.
Don't be that guy on the Gubby 500, guys.
Exactly.
It is preventable to some degree. Do whatever you can to make sure that you're prepared before you head up the mountain when there's snow up there. Make sure you
Definitely.
got a full tank of gas because you might get stuck in a traffic jam for a very long time. It's getting kind of worse and worse the more people that are going up there. And we're expected to have a doozy of a winter. So now's the time to get prepared for that. Maybe it's a good time for a shameless self-plug. Mount Hood Mobile out here doing breaks.
What?
You know, I was doing a little bit of everything. I'm really trying to just narrow down and just hit what I'm good at and hit it wide and hard. So if you guys need brakes in the Mount Hood area, hit me up. I'll help you get ready for that Gubby 500.
Definitely, you're the man.
Thank you.
I need to get with you still.
Yeah, Donovan did my brakes this summer, so it's been great.
And,
No
and
crashes,
stress, he
knock
will
on wood.
come to you.
All right. So that's our Hood news. We could either go into me just bellowing about how much I love the old Sandy skate park, but I feel like I want to pass the mic off for a second here. Let's dig into our guests for the episode. We have Mike from BDK, and we have Minty from a record shop in Sandy. Minty, where are you from originally?
I was born in Summers Point, New Jersey, and grew up right outside Philly in the suburbs of,
Okay.
Camden, New Jersey.
What was your local skate park growing up?
We didn't have a skate park. There were no skate parks when I started skating, and then there was nothing around. I found out about cheap skates in Line Lexington, PA, and shout out to my mom. Thanks for driving an hour and a half to take me there, and that just blew my mind. Seeing an indoor skate park and seeing Bucky Lasik and Darren Mendito and all these Tom Boyle and the Sigafus brothers and J.R. Neves and Bam and all those guys skate that place. Like,
What year is this?
blew my mind. I didn't even know how people got in the air on skateboards. I'm like, I would see the picture and be like, what? What year was it? Right after Back to the Future, because I saw Back to the Future as a kid and was like,
What was that,
I want a
mid-'80s?
hoverboard.
Yeah, as I said,
Mid-'80s?
just barely before my time.
Well, I don't even remember. I mean, I've seen the movie so many times, but all I remember is that's the first time I saw skateboarding and was like, what the hell? I
Was
wanna
in
do
Back
that.
to the Future?
Yeah, and then I found this like little yellow banana board under my grandparents' stairs in the basement and like pulled it out and was like, what? And my uncle's like, oh, here, I'll show you how to do it. And he took me out front, and there's like a gradual hill, and he just stood on it like completely like a skier, both feet forward, and just like was arms out and like woo, rolled down the hill. And I was like, I got to do that.
Hell
So-
yeah. How old were you?
Like 12, 13 maybe.
Okay, it's like right at the
I-
pocket. Most
once
people
you-
start skating.
Once you get as old as me, you kind of forget
Yeah, blends.
years and stuff.
Yeah,
But
you're old.
yeah.
So when did you move to Mount Hood?
I moved to Sandy 3 years ago, but I started coming to Mount Hood 2014.
Okay.
I dated a girl who was like a skier somewhat. We got out there 2 or 3 times, and then we broke up. But I bought a season pass, and I was like, I'm going to keep going. And I ended up putting in like 50 days skiing that year on this.
Were you
Like the
living like,
worst setup
in
ever.
Sandy Zone, or were you living in?
No, I
like,
was living in
Portland?
Oregon City, and I
Okay.
would just drive through Sandy all the time.
Okay.
I didn't know Sandy was even a town, and people are talking about government camp, and I'm like, "What's that? Is that a fort? Like,
Yeah.
Can you go there, or is that you need pass
Yeah,
to
is
get
it
on
is
base?"
it a government base?
Yeah, and yeah, so I'd roll through Sandy in the dark and just be like, "Boop boop," turn at Joe's and go, and then eventually started rolling down.
Is that when you started
Pioneer.
doing? When did you start doing ski patrol? I just learned that this morning. I didn't know that you were a patroller.
Yeah, so I was skiing a couple of years, and my mom came out. She's also a skier, and we were skiing meadows. I'm like, "Hey, Mom, come out here. You can go out of bounds. It's great." And we were like, I made her hike. She's great. She's 75 now, but I'm like, "Hey, just walk up here
Respect.
to A-Zone a
Out
little
there
bit."
skiing still.
She would be. She
Just a
had
couple years
some
ago.
back issues, and they had to take out part of her vertebrae in there. So it's real sketchy if she falls. But I'm sure she would ski if it was easier. But yeah, it's she was like, "Hey, I'd feel a lot better if you like skied with someone, because I go in the trees a lot."
Like a mother's heart
I
worried
really
for
don't-
what you're doing up there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty confident. You guys are amazing snowboarders. I can't touch that stuff, but I mean, I'll jump off anything in my skis. I'm pretty done that way. It just looks like the landing's always easier. It's not concrete, so I was just doing that, and she's like, she saw a tryout poster at Meadows, and she's like, "Why don't you join Ski Patrol?" And I'm like, "Cause I don't want to be a snow cop, and I don't."
Yeah, it was kind of.
Yeah,
you
what?
do not strike me as like a ski, like you think ski patroller,
Yeah.
thinks like someone that's kind of like a stiff, and which is like about 180 degrees from what I picture you being. So it making me happy to learn that. I'm like, oh, maybe there's some cool people out there
Yeah,
patrolling.
well-
Thank you guys for keeping us safe. I'm not sitting here trying talk crap on the ski patrollers.
You're not, but you're speaking about something that is, very front forward in most people's minds. As snowboarders and skateboarders, we're used to kind of doing our own thing and getting shunned and, kind of having to ask forgiveness, not permission, or just don't get caught at all doing what we do. And ski patrol is not like, it's not filled with people that want to like make you not have fun, or we have to protect the resort's business and keep people safe, but to a certain extent, everybody out there has to govern themselves and know their limits. And when people get in trouble, we're there for them. Or if like the mountain's in trouble, we're there for them. The lift goes down, we can evac the lift.
Get in trouble danger-wise, not get in trouble like scolded by ski patrol.
You get in above your limits.
It might happen too, though.
Yeah. It's easy to do both
In a good way.
at the same time.
I was gonna ask, have you ever like had to? What's a gnarly ski patrol story? Is there
There's
something
a
that
lot.
pops to mind? Like,
So when we were training, you do 6 months of once a week, 3.5 hour like medical training it was Barnes Road, Providence, and we do like full paramedic course. We can pretty much do everything except administer drugs or medications, but we learn it's outdoor emergency care. And then your classroom setting shifts to on-hill training. And you have to take a ski test, snowboard test before you even get to the training. They have to know you can ride. But then it becomes, all right, well, now let's go do everything we were doing out in the snow. And it changes the dynamic. And we were training. We were pretty close to the end of our season. And we're doing like loaded toboggan runs where we're taking people down cliffhanger and like all the double black diamonds at Ski Bowl. You train in the worst conditions so you can operate in the up to the worst conditions. And we had a day where they're like, there's a possible missing persons, like somebody, we might have to look for somebody, everybody be on alert on the radio. And half hour later we got the call and we're like, okay, so we have a missing person. And without getting into too much detail, this lady and her fiance got separated, and then he's like, I don't know where she went. She was somewhere in the outback. So we went into full, like, everybody, all hands on deck, search the mountain. So it was all these, like, apprentices who kind of know what to do, and then a very few instructors. And they're like, all right, everybody, drills are off.
Turned into a full search and rescue operation.
Yeah, so the whole thing took about 6 hours, but this lady had gotten lost in the outback. And
which is at Ski Bowl. If you're unaware, it's the backside of Ski Bowl. They don't open it very often.
Yeah. Advanced skiing only. And I guess there's a giant set of cliffs there called the Danger Cliffs. Mm-hmm. And it's like, don't ski off them. Yep. So she, I guess, was right above them and realized it was like, oops, I need to get up out of here. And she took her boots off and post-holed and fell through the snow and tumbled.
Oh, no.
And broke her neck and fell off the cliff and got caught in a tree.
Holy
so she was
shit.
hanging on this like 50-foot cliff with
Holy
like a broken
shit.
neck in this tree, and she got her cell phone out somehow and like called. It was like, hey, or like text her boyfriend like, I'm fucked.
Oh
Send
my
help.
God.
And we were all looking everywhere, and we thought we knew where she was. She was like, I can see the radio tower, and we're like, she has to be here. And we're looking all around. We didn't know anything about the cliffs because she didn't know about the cliff.
Yeah.
She was just like, I fell and I can't move.
Yeah.
Somebody, like a normal customer guest, was skiing and like heard somebody yelling and caught down and called ski patrol and was like, hey, I heard somebody yelling up there.
Holy crap.
And we skied over, and sure enough, like they're like calling it, yeah, she's at the top of Danger Cliffs. So we brought us toboggan up from the bottom, and it was just all us apprentices. And shout out to my team, like my buddy Aaron, like this giant dude. He was just like lifting the toboggan up and post-holing through the snow, climbing up to the bottom of the Danger Cliffs.
Like one of the gnarliest places I could think of to have to try to. At least it's all downhill once you get out, or like whatever. But yeah, that's so gnarly. Jeez.
Yeah, and they're like, we're at the bottom, and they're like, well, what are we gonna do? And Dan Maurer, who's like Eric Maurer's son. Eric Maurer used to be the ski patrol director. A gnarly dude. He's awesome. Dan went down and was there with this other guy, Toby, Mount Hood ski patrol guy. And we're supposed to, I guess, in a situation like that, it becomes like maybe it's a search and rescue thing, but these guys are so highly trained, and
that
so
they're
like,
able to
I'm
handle
doing
it.
my job.
Yeah.
Like I don't need anybody else. They literally harnessed in, went over the side. Dan like stabilized this girl, put her in a seat collar, Toby did that and was like hanging there with the lady, and Dan started cutting the tree branches off and throwing them down the canyon, and we were like grabbing the branches and throwing them out, and then they laid the lady down. We climbed up and put a backboard on this like little platform we made at the bottom, and she came down. We put her on the backboard and neck brace and strapped her in, and then we had to lower her down, and it got dark, so it was like it was dark.
Just
You know, it was
gnarly
like 5,
operation
6
all
o'clock.
around.
And they're like, okay, who has a light? And we're first thing in ski patrol, like, pack your bag, have all your stuff. I'm the only person that had a light, and we gave it to the guy who was driving the toboggan, and they just were like, okay, we're gonna get her down. Boop, dipped into the woods.
So then you guys are
disappeared.
just left and
So we're sitting there with like
In the dark.
fiance. Didn't know how to ski. It was his first day on skis.
Oh,
and we're in the
God.
outback in the dark. And I'm like, you know how to side slip, right? And he's like, what's that? I'm like, all right, dude, we're gonna get down here. We're gonna-
piggyback you out of here.
Nah, man, full grown adult. I'm not piggybacking
Yeah.
that guy. We got him down somehow, but we got in there and we were like, it's 8 o'clock in the locker room taking our boots off, and they're just like, all right.
That
you
ended
guys-
up being
you
a
guys
hell of a
passed."
day of training. Yeah.
They're like, you passed. You don't have to worry about the final test. You guys are ski patrollers now. We still had to do it, but I mean, that was my introduction to it. And then since then, there's just been countless
like that.
things. And yeah, I see things everywhere now, not on the mountain. So as soon as you get across, you just like start running into accidents. And
Jeez.
I have
Well,
stories for days. But
yes.
let's keep it focused on ski
Yes.
park.
Well, thank you for saving lives in Upper Bowl. That's insane, my man. That's wild.
Yeah, shout out Mount Hood Ski Patrol. It's like about 300 really dedicated people who do that stuff for free. Mount Hood Ski Patrol is the oldest ski patrol on the West Coast. It arguably might be in the world, but there's someplace up in Vermont that says, well, it was kind of us, and they go back and forth.
Or maybe Europe or something.
But I know that when it started out, they were taking like pieces of sheds and like putting people on them and like skiing them down. And back in the day when they had to like hike up
just
Timberline.
making it work.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for keeping the mountains safe, and I'll keep that in mind next time I'm thinking of ducking a rope and maybe getting a finger wag. I'll be like, you know what, you might have saved a life yesterday, so I'm just going to keep it rolling. But all right, well, we're going to do a rough transition here. So aside from saving lives in Upper Bowl, how did the record shop come to be? When did you open the record shop here? Because for those of you that don't know, we're sitting in BDK. You are only seeing half of the shop. We kind of point this direction because it's like a skate snow podcast, and we cover the skate shop. But the other half is a full blown record store. So you need to come in and check it out when you're rolling through town here. Because not only do they have records, they have movies, they have just random memorabilia. Like you can spend so much time on that side of the shop just digging through piles of cool stuff. So definitely come in and
CDs,
check it out.
DVDs.
Oh, what you got?
Thank you for the kind words. I got a little present for you guys.
Oh.
Let's see, that's a 2X.
It must
That's
be
for you.
me.
Speaking of merch, speaking of record shop.
We got
you,
some
buddy.
record shop and Sandy merch getting passed out by Minty right now. Thank you, Minty. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold up here.
Very
these will
nice.
Be available soon. I don't want to run Mike through the ringer, but
It's
Come
a
get record
T-shirt.
shop
It says
shirts.
a record shop in Sandy. It's a picture of a record. It's that's a cool T-shirt. You screen these yourself?
no, Leif's connection here in town. He got some really cool church stuff made, and I asked who did it. Just kind of got this idea a couple days ago, and Rock Ranch here in town did the.
Wait,
Direct
so
to-
you
direct to print.
outsourced screening?
I did.
To,
I don't DTF.
It's not screen print.
Okay, I got you. Never mind.
Direct
never
to
mind.
film, right?
Direct to
film.
film.
Yes.
Yeah. They were able to do it in like one day. So great. Thank you so much. That's why you got to support small businesses, because we're there for each other.
Respect. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's really
Now
cool.
you guys got to put them on though.
Okay.
You don't worry about it. Don't worry
Everyone
about it.
wardrobe swap right now.
I don't want to scare anybody.
But when did you open the shop here? That was about 2 years ago. The record shop opened.
Sandy Mountain Festival. 2 mountain festivals ago.
A year and a half, yeah.
Yeah, about a year and a half. I came in here originally and was come to BDK for years and just talking to my
Because BDK was here first.
Yeah. So I found the shop coming through town. I'm like, oh, there's a skate shop. And then I can think of so many times that I stopped here and like got a critical piece of what I needed for some like Northwest skate adventure.
I think the first time I met you, you were doing some sort of, what are they, King of the Road type of...
Yeah, we did an End of the Road,
End of the
King of the
Road.
Road parody for my friend's wedding. Mikey
That's
Minty got
great.
married, so it was the end of the road, and we made a Bible and a challenge book.
Dude, that's like
and
the best like bachelor party
Dude,
idea ever for
it
someone that's a
was.
skater. I love that.
We had like 30 people come from all over the U.S. Mikey's a social butterfly. He knows everybody. He's a great guy. And, you know, he kind of knew we were doing something, but he didn't know that. And I had everybody show up at the Bigfoot Museum, and they're like, what are we doing here? And they came in the back room, and this is why we were building it, so it was empty. And I made them all file in. I'm like, all right, everybody get in a circle. And they're like, what? And I'm like, here you go. And passed them all out. And I was like, count off by fours or whatever.
Just
And
full on
everybody's
King
like,
of the
1,
Road
2, 3,
style.
4,
Just
1, 2, 3,
like,
4.
here's your Bible, go.
Yeah, ones go over there, twos go over there, threes go over there, and everybody, here's your Bibles, and everybody's like, what? And it was great. It was so much fun. I came in, we worked on it, like, this is going to be amazing. I showed you, and I got a Roscott reissue.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember. Yeah,
Was that one
we
of the
need to get it
challenges?
set up.
What was one of the
there
challenges?
There were fun challenges.
What was the most memorable challenge?
Make your own skateboard out of something unskateable and do a run at the skate park.
Okay.
We had skate park specific challenges like grind over the Dort Hood River, you know, rail slide over the
Was there
bench at
anything in
Bingen.
Sandy specific? Or Mount
no,
Hood,
big-
maybe?
There was. Yeah, so shout out to Kirk Hanna at Ski Bowl. He's the owner. I just called him up, ran us for the moment. I was like, hey, Kirk, I got like 30 people coming by. Can I think I can get like 30 tickets for the Alpine slide? Because we're
You
going
got
to do
Kirk Hanna's phone number like that?
scavenger. Yeah,
Dude, give him to Patreon support. Come on.
we can talk about that.
Man needs some tax cuts.
You know what? That guy is super generous, and we could talk for hours about that. He's given me a lot of opportunities. So
I'm just
everyone,
playing, but that, yeah. it's like-
surprisingly, you know, you think about a ski resort, and you're like, hey, mega corporation or something. It's really it's run, you know, very hands-on, like top to bottom. Everybody's kind of really involved.
Yeah.
And you know, like anybody else, sometimes you fight yourself, but sometimes you sync up. And they've given me a lot of opportunities to work on different projects there.
Yeah, no,
aside
we all
from
love the
skateboarding.
bowl.
Yeah, and they're really he donates a lot of money to different causes. He feels particularly strongly about the Native American causes and Federated Tribes of Warm Springs because Ski Bowl's on their land. So he actually, when he bought the resort, was like, "This is your mountain. I just, you know, I bought it, but it's not really mine. You know, it's your mountain. So you guys can do whatever you want here. Like, keep on doing your thing. Keep on doing the Wigwinu Festival where they do the huckleberry picking and the salmon roast and all that stuff. And they've had a ride from Warm Springs to Ski Bowl, like their original path. They rode horses out there, and Kirk fully supports it. And yeah, he's doing the same thing out at Canita. But back to the
Yeah, what was the
story.
challenge?
Yeah, sorry I derailed you
I
there,
just-
but I'm like, you're taking this and taking it to a cool place, so I'm just going to
I-
let you keep going. I'm learning
Yeah,
right
so
now.
I-
Not
I-
quite the skate park episode. This is turning into Minty's facts
No.
about Ski Bowl episode, but you know what?
It's-
I'm not complaining. We're going to get there.
Yeah, it's Mount Hood. so
Yeah, love
it
it.
is on topic.
Anyways,
Yeah, it just was like, we have a scavenger hunt and we got some challenges at Ski Bowl. Like, can we go there? And he's like, sure, I approve this. So he just rolled up there, 30 dudes, and we're like, one of the challenges was like getting a group photo with as many ladies over 60 as you can. And like,
to Ben.
And you went to Ski Bowl?
randomly somebody got that, and like he was with like 6 ladies up on the top, and we were like
Sick.
race each other on the Alpine slide or whatever, so you get the fastest time. But like we were able to just go do it. kind
That's
of on
awesome.
the spur of the moment. Yeah.
That's cool.
I just want to say the best challenge of all was my friend didn't make a board, but he wanted to do the like ride a skateboard challenge, and we were at Bingen, and he made my buddy Fall Guy lay down on his board, and then he pushed him and jumped on him and rode him as the board, and they made it down the little spillway and like carved around the first turn.
A human board?
A human board, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
That's
pretty
gnarly.
epic.
Well, we're kind of bouncing around all over the place. Let's bounce over to Mike for a second. Mike, you're the owner of BDK Board Shop here, and I got lots of questions for you surrounding yourself in the shop. But where are you from originally?
Born in, excuse me, clear my throat. I forgot we could bring something to drink here.
Yeah, you want water or
What's in that
something? What do we got?
flask? No, just joking.
Minty said last night, he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna bring
Just
I'm gonna
messing
be
with you.
drinking whiskey in the morning. Is that okay?" I'm like, "Dude, whatever. Turn it on.
I
It's good."
generally don't drink whiskey at 8 in the morning, but This is a ski
is
bowl
this?
flask that I
Can
actually
I
designed.
say how you got the morning started today? This is just because it's a special day, but we were setting up late last night, and there was a beer sitting on the counter that got opened and forgotten about last night, and he's like, "Well, waste not, want not," and started out the day by, disposing of that, making sure that didn't get wasted.
And all my nerves went away.
He chugged the leftover
Except now.
beer.
Yeah, we are looking for a beer sponsor, so I know there's a couple floating in the area here. Hit us up.
Mount Hood Brew Co. makes some good beer.
They do, and we are all veterans of Mount Hood Brew Co., or at least a lot of the people. But anyways, Mike, where are you from originally?
Born in Texas.
Texas.
And I was a Army brat. So I moved all over.
Okay.
Germany, Maryland, New York, Georgia, back to Germany, Kentucky, and this is the accent you get.
Ended up in Oregon.
And I myself went in the military, early 20s, and then I bounced around. Fort Lewis, Washington was my first.
What branch were you in?
I was Army.
Okay.
And so I went Washington, Hawaii, Colorado, back to Hawaii, and then I decided to get out.
Were you a pilot?
Not a pilot. I was a helicopter mechanic.
Okay, I just remember saying that it involved helicopters. That's why I was
Blackhawks.
like, an Army helicopter. But,
Yeah. Then I did a little fixed wing Gulfstream,
Okay.
both military and civilian.
I could hijack this podcast and just ask you military questions for like days until you don't have patience anymore. They say as you
They're
get older,
con-
you start roasting meat, you get hella into Star Wars, or you go World War II history, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I'll tell you my
Military
belief.
buff.
They're contrails, not chemtrails. I know for a fact.
Okay.
Well, maybe I don't. Can't say that for sure, but
Mike's got the inside scoop. Well, thank you for your service and
yeah, thank you.
those years there.
Yeah.
So when did you start skating during? Were you
The
skating
second
before
time,
the military?
the second time in Germany, 1976, I got my first board straight out of the Sears catalog. I still have it.
Is it here in the shop somewhere? Is it?
I keep it in the bus.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sick.
it's a fiberglass rainbow with geese on top.
That's awesome. But, it'll probably last longer than the wooden boards, huh?
Oh yeah,
Fiberglass.
still kicking.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
I don't have my first.
Did they mail that to you from the U.S.?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause Sears catalog.
Mhm.
That's like how we did most of our Christmas shopping.
Did
Okay.
you have Sears catalogs in your lives? Either of you guys?
I think we might be too young.
generation
Yeah,
away.
I think so. Yeah, we lived
Tell
out
them
of
what a
Sears.
Sears catalog is.
I
That's a big thing.
That's where you look up lingerie. I mean, toys, and that's later on.
the back pages of the Sears catalog.
They're in the middle.
The Macy's flyers.
Was there a couple skateboards to choose from, or only one?
There had to be a couple, but I can't remember if that's what I exactly picked. There wasn't, like a big selection.
And it was kind of like a toy. It wasn't even marketed. Like the skate industry wasn't necessarily.
It was 76,
popping
so
yet,
things
so.
were just starting. It did have urethane wheels, loose ball bearings, big old mags on the back, and Skinner your wheels up front.
That's so sick. Just like
Yeah.
hot rod style.
Hot rod
Hit.
style.
That's
yeah.
so
But
crazy.
you think unbranded?
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
I don't remember a brand, but that is still a popular board I see that because a lot of us started out on those things. So it is sort of collectible.
So you started back in '76, and then you probably got to skate all over as you guys were moving and
that
kind of
was-
seeing the scene all around.
Yeah, 76, so that was about, I'll give away my age. I was probably about 6th grade. And then we moved to Kentucky in 77, I think it was. Sort of like my, I think 8th grade. So that was where 77, 78 things started to explode. Brands, Skateboarder Mag, Skateboard World was already out. So then you had, Foul Surf and
Yeah, because when's like the Dogtown documentary and stuff? When is that? What years is that kind of going?
Yeah,
down? That's
is
right in that bubble.
That's right in that bubble.
Yeah.
So yeah, we lived through
Minty's
those
holding it up. Look it up.
magazines. Yeah, we lived through those magazines because that was Kentucky for me. So East Coast, and magazines come out. You're a few months already behind, and you're looking at all these things going on out in California and maybe Florida.
1975.
1975.
The Art of the Downhill Slide by C.R. Stesic.
Oh,
I guess
okay.
that's the first article about skateboarding that kind of kicked off the...
Minty grabbed the book and went straight to the resources
I
here.
just
There
happened
you
to
go.
put it back here because it's something I thought was cool, but it's also autographed by like a lot of the Z-Boys.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Everyone who was alive at that time.
Is that
And,
part of the record shop or is that yours, Mike?
And this is
Not mine.
An invitation.
Dang, Minty's got some cool collectibles.
does.
Yeah.
Dude, look, you're
What?
invited to the Dogtown and Z-Boys premiere party. You should have been there.
Wow.
I did go in Honolulu.
It was rad.
Mikey's
Suicidal
or
Tendencies
Minty's
played.
pulling out an invitation to the Dogtown and Z-Boys premiere right now that he has that's signed by a
April
bunch of people.
2002. That's
Yeah.
pretty rad. Yeah, it was at the Block at Orange, and we got to watch people skate the combi and all that stuff. And it was at the movie theater at the combi, and then
I did the Honolulu
Aw.
premiere version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you were
like
still in
that's-
Hawaii during that time.
Yeah.
Sick.
like Mike was in the middle of all that stuff.
Yeah. So
Well,
you won't-
East Coast.
when did you move? So when did you end up over on the West Coast?
Not till I was in the military.
Okay, as an
Yeah,
adult.
I grew up in Kentucky, high school years, skateboarding years. Same thing like Minty, my dad's, they won't ever let me put a ramp at the house, but they still supported my passion.
Mm-hmm.
I stuck with it, which is what got me collecting, trying to find my old boards from back in the day.
Have you
'cause-
always been a collector?
No, not until, early 2000s.
It was when you started. Okay.
Yeah,
You guys
I was trying to find my old stuff.
There's quite a collection in here. You can see some of it on camera, but there's a lot more off camera. So again, come into the shop and check
What's
it
your
out.
board count looking like for collectible boards these days?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
Couple hundred.
300.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been more that I always say there's been probably what you see here I've had pass through my hands, either, rotating inventory, some sales, some trades, some purges.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
What would you say is? Do you have a personal favorite board in your collection?
Well, the one that sort of got me collecting, it was the Sims Brad Bowman Superman BB. You might be able to see it.
Yep, I
the
think
blue
it's just
one.
right above the cost in there in
Yeah.
the frame.
There's a blue one with the Superman BB. That was probably about late 79, 80 was I call my first pig
Okay.
when the boards got wide.
Is that one signed also?
It was signed, yeah. Actually, Brad Bowman, when I was in the small shop, popped in one day, which was quite a surprise, and he was bringing his daughter to come snowboard up at Mount Hood and to see.
Yeah, you probably do get some good
I've had a couple.
more folks than you would if you weren't so close to the mountain.
Yeah, he was visiting here with his daughter to snowboard, and he saw the skate shop, said he had to loop around and come back in. He had no idea. I had never met him before, but he was sort of like an idol for
That's
me
awesome.
back then. So yeah, he signed the board and signed the door. We took some
Sick.
photos. Yeah,
That's so
Brad
cool.
is a super cool dude.
I love that like hero worship never goes away. You know, like you guys are both probably far from where you were when that first developed, and now here you are and still tripping on meeting the guy and being like, dude, you're here in our shop right now. Like that's so special. That's skateboarding right there.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
cool.
you get to meet your heroes and skate with them. It's like you don't get to meet LeBron because he's like, oh, I saw a sporting goods store when I was driving by, so
Yeah.
I figured I'd stop and
Yeah,
like
true.
have a conversation with you or skate with you or
Yeah, very
play,
true.
play some horse.
That's
That's
one of the things that
definitely-
makes it special.
That's definitely been something that's happened. Very fortunate, much later in life, and still being involved with it. Whether wherever you're at, had some people. Everyone passes through Hawaii. I did live out there for
Yeah,
about.
that's what I was trying to get to. Is when did you move to Hawaii? that when you left
I was
exited the military?
Yeah, well, no. In the late '80s, I got stationed there, so I was there for 4 years. Just my family doing my thing, and I went back there in the mid '90s, and still military. Got more involved with the base. There was a place called the Singapore Skate Hangar on Hickam Air Force Base. So I did a contest for them, and I fixed up the ramp, and they were like, "Oh, you can work on ramps," which at the time it was a World War II hangar that was just a designated place to, "Hey kid, don't skate here, go to the hangar." So military has their own sports activities, so the skateboarding fell up under it. They stuck some people in there, they funded it. I got involved in the late 90s.
Because it's on base again.
Because it's on base.
It's part of the base. It's
The
for all
base is like its own little city. With
What did you call them? The base brats or the military brats or
well,
all the kids?
when
that
you're
are
a
grown up
kid,
there,
when you're a dependent
Yep.
of a active duty or whatever parent, yeah, you're a military brat. Yeah,
Is that a that's not a bad word? Or like
it's not a bad word.
Okay.
It's just a description,
Yep.
meaning.
You're just the kids on base running around.
Yeah, my dad's in the military. I'm just dependent.
Yeah.
So
So
we're
you
brats.
guys made a little skate spot for all the brats, the Hickam Hangar, which looks like it's
basically
insane place. I haven't been there before.
Yeah,
but
it started out with donations. This was Hawaii, so lots of things happen, and they don't know what to do with the ramps that got built. There was a PAL demo in late 80s, and like, where are we going to put the vert ramp? It went to the hangar.
Okay.
Town and Country did a street contest. Where are we going to put the ramps? That's how the hangar got started. I didn't get involved till the late 90s when I did that contest. They found out I could fix the ramps, and so basically I was active duty, but they were like, I was skating there anyway with myself and kids. They're like, "Do you want to work for us?" And guaranteed no hours, but and they funded everything. So long story short there, a Keyhole Bowl in '99, revamped the street, Boomerang Bowl in 2001.
The Boomerang Bowl looks sick. I was
Yeah,
doing
that's-
some research for this, just like dating. Now, I've looked at it before, but I just had to circle back and be like, "Yo, is there anything else online about the hangar? Because I want to learn more about this." And it looks like such a cool spot. There's that one video where they're actually interviewing you about it, and you're kind of talking about
That's
building it
happened
up.
a time or two.
Yeah.
Wasn't there something funny that happened where you just kept getting more stuff and building more stuff, and you're like requisitioning and requesting supplies, and it's just like, "Oh yeah, we need 50 pieces of plywood and
Well, when we
1,000
built-
2x4s," and it's like, all right.
When we built the first bowl, we tore down the mini ramp. It was a 24-foot wide mini that was spined actually at the time. And the deal was there was a budget. You had this amount of budget the military gave us, and the original plans for the bowl was sort of like a mini bowl. But my friend Rick, a.k.a. Eric, sorry, bust you out. We decided the bowl was going to be bigger. So when it came down to it, we were like, yeah, we just didn't get as much materials out of that ramp as we expected, so the budget got increased. Took a little extra time, but if you do check out Hickam Skate Hangar, there's lots of YouTube
Yeah.
on it. There's lots of info. That Keyhole Bowl, every time I go back, I like, how did we do this out of wood?
It's impressive. There's like legitimate contests and stuff that happen there too, isn't it? I hear
Oh yeah,
rumblings from the hangar.
yeah.
from
There's
skating
been,
every
Was
year.
there an NSA contest series video of Hawaii ever? You know how they had like Terror Trashmore and the Virginia Beach?
there was right before I left there
Across the
the
hangar.
first time. There was an NSA at the Blaisdell Arena. That's where the Y ramp. Tim Payne
Right there?
built the Y ramp. Yep, that picture is Gons doing the gap at the Y ramp at the Blaisdell. So I left in, when did I leave? 92, 93. Had to be somewhere around there.
And then so how many years were you kind of involved? Were you like the head guy running the hangar, or just one of the guys running the hangar?
I was just an employee for many, many years on the side. I didn't get involved till it was our early to mid 2000s, where I became the concessionaire or contractor.
Mm-hmm.
Since I built everything in there anyway, the revert ramp and 2 bowls and street course. The military sometimes tends to sublet programs, bowling alley, golf course, to contractors. So it was sort of
You became a military contractor via
I was
skate
a
park.
military skate, and I still am.
That's so sick.
So as an employee,
Still
if
are.
there's
Still am. Yeah, my oldest son's running it,
Okay.
and then I have a close friends, family, the Reynolds, who their kid, Himana, went to the Olympics. So I've grown up. They've grown up at the hangar. They have their own shop too, and they run our clinics and skate camps.
Because I've talked to you before about kind of picking your brain about maybe starting something out here, and I was pleasantly surprised to learn that you have a bunch of experience running skate camps
Well,
or being involved in them.
being involved, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was our deal with the Reynolds family, and they still run our camps and clinics. For me, the daily grind of, running a skate park, it's a 50,000 square foot hangar, and it's pretty full. And Chris is my oldest son. He runs the daily grind out there, and then the Reynolds pick up the lessons and the
That's awesome.
skate camp.
That's really cool that you guys have created that out there.
so BDK as a shop may have been born in Hawaii.
BDK Skate. It was the little office
at
skate
the hangar
shop
is that's
within
where
the hangar.
BDK started at. What does BDK stand for?
Big Daddy K's.
Big Daddy K's.
Thanks to Rick.
Hey, is the Hickam Hangar in a Tony Hawk's video game or
I've
modeled after?
Wait,
They-
like at the first
I think it's
level?
in the second one.
They came out.
Yeah,
and
do you know
did
anything
some
about that?
mapping. I
Well,
wasn't.
the first level on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 is a hangar.
Is
It's
it?
called
Is
the
it?
hangar, and you like roll in and like you gap the half pipe. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I've spent so many hours playing that.
I said in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, though. I think it might be.
Shoot.
I think
first
they
left
did
it.
come out. I don't know
I
if
might
I
have to-
was
I
there
feel ashamed
or
to not
on
know. That's so
island.
sick.
Okay.
This is one of the reasons that Mike is so cool. He's so modest.
He's like,
That,
am
that would
I
be the
at
first
Tony
thing
Hawk
I'd tell
level?
everyone.
I don't know. Yeah, that's insane.
Hi,
also,
I'm
where's the
Minty, and I
royalties?
built
Come
a
on.
skate park that's in Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah.
Would you like to buy this record?
I think
Like,
Burnside's in the first game,
Yeah,
and the
Burnside's in
Hickam
there.
Hangar, or embodying it, is in the second one.
They probably, since it's a military base, commonly like if you saw that interview with the news, you will just think military base. There's all sorts of hoops and protocols you have to. You can't film the flight line. You can't. You
true,
gotta
yeah.
go through all these channels.
Yeah,
of-
if you're going to bring a camera on and do a recording
So
on
I think it
military
was the
base.
same thing with there. They got permission to come out and map the hangar, but they might not have been able to advertise it as
being what it was.
where it
The
was
Hickam
and what
hangar,
it was.
Wait,
Yeah,
that's
uh-huh.
so crazy.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I think it resembles it pretty strongly.
I can't say I've seen it. I'm
Okay.
surprised because
Well, I
my
mean-
kids always played all that.
We're going to have to get to the bottom of this and
We
do
all
a
know.
recap because I'm tripping right now. Like, there are a few things in this world that have like meant something to me on the level that those video games meant to me, and to be like, wait, Mike was like maybe involved on something that was a level on there, like, mind blown. That's crazy. So when did you leave Hawaii and come to Oregon?
That was 2014.
Okay. And
Actually moved here.
when did the shop open here in Sandy?
2016.
Shortly after.
Yeah.
And was that kind of in your mind as you wanted to come out here and open a shop, or how did the shop come to be?
The shop came to be because I wasn't keeping up with the honeydew list at home. I got away with it for 2 years.
So,
And so I
see.
was like, you need to do something. And since I already had Hickam,
Mm-hmm.
and already was still running that shop at that time from here. It was just turnkey. I noticed that we're Mount Hood. I was in Washington. Everyone that I knew from there all came here, Mount Hood. I never made it in the 80s, but I had the Cummings brothers, Matt and Mike. They were older. Temple was just a little guy. They were my friends, and while I was in Washington, because I had a little skate shop, temporary thing.
What town in Washington?
Well, it was Fort Lewis, so Tacoma.
Oh, okay, so it's
Tacoma.
Yep.
Did you just say that you started BDK to get out of doing chores at home? And how does that work?
I started BDK because I was not keeping up with my chores at home. And, got to stay busy. So I thought, turnkey operation. All I have to do is find a spot. There was no skate-oriented places in Sandy.
So you could
I
be
mean,
like,
we
I
can-
forgot to take out the trash because I had to go to the skate shop I just invented.
Well,
sounds legit.
I grew up skating here, so I can maybe speak a little bit to the skate shops that were in town. Because back in the 90s when I started skating, it was like 97, I think. There were, I believe, 3 active skate shops in Sandy. Like that's, it was pre-internet. Everyone, you could only really buy in shops, so there's enough to support. And like skateboarding was huge at the time. So yeah, there used to be like 3 shops at once. There's one that had a mini ramp behind it here on the one-way strip. Then there's I believe NRC was running down up where the lower intersection in town, and then I think there's another shop, like one of the ski shops had skate stuff.
Northern Alliance is the name I always heard.
So that was like the first phase, and then NRC went out of business or whatever happened with them. I'm not sure.
Did that turn into Scooter Bum?
Possibly.
The one-
We have a good interview with, I think Robert Solario talks about it, and then a couple other of the people that are going to speak at the end of the episode here. Some of the old Sandy OGs kind of run through the lineage of it. But there were these other shops, and then Northern Alliance kind of held it down for a while, and then they went out of business or whatever happened. I think that was like around 2008, like a lot of stuff went out of business. And then there really wasn't anything in town. There's a huge gap. A couple shops tried to pop up, and they would last maybe half a year or something like that. But no one really stuck around until BDK. And I'm going to be honest, I was a little skeptical because when it first opened, it was the shops before, there had been like a series of shops that had tried to open and didn't make it. Mm-hmm. And then I saw another shop pop up. I'm like, oh, well, like, I don't want to get attached to you because I don't know if you're going to stick around, kind of a thing, So it took personally a little while of seeing the shop stick around and be like, oh, sick, we got a skate shop that's like here to last. Like somehow they're able to start a brick and mortar skate shop in the world of internet purchases is, I'm sure, not an easy task to accomplish. So you've been able to navigate it, and respect for doing so.
Thank you.
I'm rambling, but yeah, so that's kind of the lineage of the skate shops in Sandy.
I went to that shop that had the mini ramp in the back. Well, do you remember what that one was called?
Under the Cover?
Yeah.
That's where I bought my first skateboard.
Okay, I think it's where Next Adventure is now.
Okay,
Maybe?
is it
Yeah.
that same building?
Yeah.
I
remember
got a little
going
kid
there.
memory of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Before my time.
Yep.
Did you drop in?
I can't remember if I dropped in, but I did get a black label backpack that you could attach your skateboard to, and that was one of my first skate backpacks.
Yep.
Nice.
Mandatory.
Solid
You had to
choice.
have that back in the day
Yes.
going to class. Yeah, the mini ramp there, I remember it felt like a vert ramp because I
It
was
was
a little
scary.
kid. Yeah, it's probably actually like a pretty sweet mini ramp. But so then, the shop opened? What year did you say?
It was
2016.
fall of 2016.
Fall of
Yeah,
2016.
It was, once again, I was lucky I already had the Hickam shop, so everything was sort of turnkey. I just had to get with the distributors.
Like you already had accounts and stuff that you could
Oh,
kind of
right.
direct over
So
here.
all I had to do was
You already had the
redirect,
connections.
and they're more than happy if I bought more stuff.
Yeah.
So and
So
I
is BDK kind of like a satellite of the Hickam Hangar shop, or is it a completely separate?
it's just a second. It's not really a second location because there's not really even a shop there now. But there is. It is where BDK skate, and so my friend Rick that helped me do the keyhole bowl, he always nicknamed everyone. So the whole crew, that was a certain time frame in Hawaii where there was no parks in Hawaii, really. So you had a resurgence of people that were wanting stuff done. They were older. They had the time. They had no place. And then Hickam came, I came, and all of a sudden, we had a place to build. And the military paid for it.
Heck yeah.
It was a win-win situation.
If I'm going to be paying my taxes, I want to know that's going to build a skate park. That makes me happier than any other thing.
Exactly. That's the way we felt, too. And that's why it was mostly volunteer labor doing all that. But, so yeah, Rick, a.k.a. Eric, everyone on the crew had names. I was the biggest dude, so I became BDK, Big Daddy K's.
Oh, yeah.
Troy was T-Roy. Mike, there was another Mike. He flew for Island Air, so he was Island Mike. And
The Island Mike? Isn't that a restaurant now?
I have no idea, but that was his nickname because he flew for Island Air. So that was a good core group and they still are out there, a good core group of older skaters. And so we're talking, that was like 1999, mid to late 90s. So
that's right after I started skating. There's some overlap there. Well, that's sick. So, and then BDK.
And BDK happened here because it was, like I said, sort of turnkey. I just need to find the spot, which is why it was in the small. When I looked in this building, this was empty, but I could see there was a line on the floor. And so when I called, it ended up being the Paolas that owned this section.
Another big Sandy family.
Yeah, from the gateway to the end. I was like, I am looking for a small spot, and I noticed this. You have a large spot. It's funny, they didn't even know the wall was gone. So whoever was in here, which I think was like a dollar store, had removed the wall.
I forget what it was beforehand, yeah.
Yeah, it had been many, many things, like what you said before. This spot has been a zillion things over the years.
It's a cool building. It has character. It's like an older building.
1900s.
Yeah.
It has history. So we worked a deal, and if I resurrect the wall, could I rent the small area? And I've always said if I could survive the winters primarily as a skate shop, so I do subsidize it because I've always screen printed.
Mm-hmm. So not only is there a skate shop here and a record store, but there's also a screen printing shop and embroidery studio connected that Mike runs.
A workshop, not an official storefront, but yes.
Yeah.
I do.
And so if you're in the area and you need any shirts or any other merchandise created, hit up Mike. Yeah, Leif works in there too.
Yep.
So yeah, and BDK's taken many shapes, like you're saying. When it first opened, I remember it was like in the smaller space, and things were kind of oriented differently. And then
just 12 feet wide by about 40 feet long. That little spot over there, and in the back was a little print area.
And then you merged with Minty here recently.
Well, yeah, that was recent. So I was 5 years in the small spot, and then Russell wanted to, this is during COVID, beginning of COVID, wanted to do a snowboard shop. So initially, this spot became empty. It was Mount Hood Art at the time, and most of when COVID and everything shut down, they made most of their money through, like state fairs, setting up, selling things. So they couldn't make it. So this was empty. And it was like, well, we can move next door and we could do a snowboard, skateboard, same thing.
And that was in BDK / Essentium is how you said it? Is that?
Enzentium.
Yeah,
ENS.
Enzentium. Enzentium.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
ENS, Entium. You have to ask Russ.
I've always wondered that when I pull in the back lot. I'm
Greek,
like,
I think.
Yeah, Latin or Greek.
Latin. Means something.
I could probably look it up, but
so that lasted about. We did merge and we did split the shop. He was Enzentium, I was BDK, and then he lasted for about a year and a half. But he was going through some other things, and he's the Joyride backer or reinventor. So he was going through some legal stuff, and
I think he just went to focus on Joyride.
Yeah, he had to, and he was getting. The big guys were after him because of the word ride
Oh,
and joyride, even though they both existed.
Even
in
We'll
the
have to bring
90s.
Russell on here.
Really?
He'd be an
Okay, I
interesting
wanna hear a
story
little
as
bit
well.
about that. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know him personally.
Joyride is available in BDK.
It
It
is.
is, yes.
New runs of shirts coming out. They're hot
So,
off the press.
so, yeah, that lasted a year and a half, and then it just became the skate shop, and then it got reconfigured, and
Because now it's just a skate shop, which is pretty awesome that you're able, like you said, to survive through the wintertime being just a skate shop in the Northwest where it rains for most of the year. Because all those shops that we were talking about that were here before BDK, they, I think, were primarily snowboard shops. That's where I grew up getting my skate stuff from, is going to primarily snowboard shops that had a skate wall.
I'm
So,
the opposite.
yeah, which, respect.
Primarily,
Love
80.
snowboarding,
I
but
say
skater
80%
first.
skate and 20% snow. But I also subsidize by printing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always said for an independent, especially a small independent shop, you got to do something else. If you don't have a mini ramp in the back,
Yeah, you got,
Where you can
especially
do-
today's, internet
yeah,
purchasing and stuff like that, you got to do something else to help keep the lights on.
Don't quit your day job. Unfortunately, if you want to follow your dreams,
It's
you
true.
got to follow them after the 9 to 5.
Yeah, this is a good time to
make it
pivot
work.
to that. One of the questions I had for both of you guys is, do you have any advice on how to be a lifer in skateboarding and snowboarding to people? Because there's people that do it, they get really into it, and then the real world responsibilities hit, and it kind of falls to the wayside. And you can tell that still is in their heart, but maybe they're not wearing skate shoes anymore. Maybe they're like, just it just gets left in the past, and I think that is one of the things that freaking kills you, honestly. So what's your advice for you guys? Have both, I think, managed to stay attached to skateboarding. What would you wise words be to those who don't want to leave it behind in their past and want to be able to carry it with them through the growth of their life?
Even though
Myself, selfishly, I'm like, we're looking down the pipe
Got
of
you,
like, we
man.
might start a family in the next couple of years and things like that. And it's like, well, how do you still go and skate with your friends or still stay attached to this while balancing everything?
you want the secret, man, don't take it too seriously, even though it's the most important thing in the world. So somehow you have to balance that. Skateboarding informs everything I do. I've been doing it about 35 years. I mean, it's ingrained in my DNA. And you want to start a family and wonder how to have kids and skate and balance that, get your kid a skateboard right away. My daughter was riding on a little mini board before she could stand. I was just holding her on the board and rolling her back and forth. And she's 3.5 and can roll on a board, and she like pretend drop-ins on the ground.
Yeah.
And when this park opens, I mean, you bet we're going to be down there every day at like 7 in the morning before the homies roll in and get her strider bike out, a scooter, skate, whatever. Just don't force it, but give her that.
Make it available.
Yeah.
Just a
Give
new
your
a
kids
way to
the-
interact with your
Yeah,
kid.
yeah. Like, here's a thing. It's really fun. I'm gonna do it. Is that cool? And they'll eventually want to do everything you do because you're the parent. And then they're like, if you force them to skate, they're gonna like play football. It's
Yeah.
just the way it goes.
I think it evolves.
But you're like, hey,
Mhm.
this is fun. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. You want to come? And inevitably they'll figure it out. And if it's meant to be, they will. And there's something clicked in me where I was like, oh, skateboarding like that. I know I'm different than everybody else. I don't fit in. None of the kids in my school like seem like me. Whatever. I found skateboarding and I'm like, oh, that's my people. And then you go through life and you skate, but like you can kind of forget about that because everything gets in the way, but it'll always be there for you. It's like your friends, your girlfriends, your jobs, all that stuff goes away at some point. Nothing is permanent.
Minty, you've been skating pretty hard recently. Have there been times where you've taken a break from skateboarding?
Oh, yeah. I've had to take breaks. Like I broke myself and couldn't skate
Mostly due to injury?
mostly due to skating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. Let me pat you on the back. You skate hard. Like we'll do BDK Thursdays every Thursday in the summertime. We'll all meet up and skate after the shop closes at Estacada. And Minty's there putting down. He's skating the deep end, the big bowl. He's also skating street. We had the DGS battle at the bowl, and he's up there pushing on the rough concrete, popping over the street features. So, and I mean, dude's not in his teens, and he's out there skating hard. So, respect.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm 50, and I'm not embarrassed to say it.
Yeah. That's
you
awesome.
know,
I hope I'm skating.
I've been
like
skating longer
50.
than half my life, and I think just if it's meant to be and you get it and you embrace it, the point is you can always pick it back up. Like if you get bored or you're not feeling it, just do something else. Like everything we do, like I said, is like kind of informed by skateboarding, and I feel like once you get it, you can apply that to anything you do in life, and you skate through all your responsibilities, and you take the line that makes the most sense, and you kind of watch what other people are doing, and like, man, why are they doing it the hard way? I'm just going to come over here and carve over here and get through the DMV real quick and fucking blunt slide it or whatever, you know?
I think if
Put a
you're
little style on the end, and then people are like, what? There's another line? Yeah, I've been taking it my whole life. But
I like
you know,
that.
you guys are stoking me out because I loved skateboarding with my friends when I was growing up, and we were always like, yeah, that's so fun, but banging our boards. And I didn't have a skate park growing up, but FDR got built, and then it was there, and then people built it, and just like saw DIY happening and skated that place, and it's the gnarliest place in the world. Like Burnside is gnarly. FDR's like Burnside, but like way taller and like oververt everywhere, and you're just like, oh, I guess that's what it feels like to skate a big wall. Like you gotta learn it. And then came out to California, and everybody's got their iPod, their headphones on, and like nobody cheers when anybody does stuff, and everybody's super great skaters. I met a lot of people out there, but the general attitude in Southern California was so laid back that like I'd be like, yeah, and I'm the only person yelling. Like, this little dude just learned how to drop.
Everyone's cool guy in.
And then I came up here, and it's like a scene again. Everybody's like stoked to go to that Thursday night.
Yep.
At Estacada. It's the best night.
There's
I love
some
it.
people in your life that you meet, and you're like, dude, you belong at Burnside, and you fall more into that category. You know, like get under the bridge and go like let loose, my
I
man.
am not a Burnside guy by any stretch.
I think you
I've
could be.
skated it a few times. Respect that's the place to start it all.
Yeah.
And the whole attitude that I think we're all carrying forward came from those guys. And then, you know, it happened at FDR, and it happened at Channel Street, and it happened at, in San Diego at, why am I blanking? Because I'm on a podcast. What the hell's the giant skate park?
Yo,
in San
keep
Diego?
rambling for 1 second.
Under
I'm
the
going to step
bridge.
aside for 1 second,
Yeah.
guys. I'll be right back. I got hit in
something
the head.
street.
What's it called?
It's like the name of the street.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Anyway.
What?
Just give 'em
So you mentioned you went to California.
Yeah.
What were you doing there? Because you had you
California
did quite
dreaming.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
did
grew
quite
up-
a bunch of in the skate industry in California, right?
Yeah. Not because I was a great skateboarder or anything, but just because I'm a nosy busybody from New Jersey who's not afraid to embarrass myself. So if I see something I want to do, I'm like, how can I do that? And I ask the people that are doing it.
Oh, there's the ghost
That-
again.
This place is haunted for sure.
You think?
Oh, I know. Yeah, I don't even remember the question now.
What were you doing? Or name
Oh,
some of the projects you were
why'd I
doing in
go to
California
California?
because they're pretty big names. You worked for some big names
Yeah.
or worked on some big projects, right?
Well, so I worked at a skate shop in New Jersey called Failure, and they were pretty popular. They came from Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero
The
is
boards fell again.
the most popular skate shop in Philly for a long time.
All right, we're back here. Sorry to interrupt, Minty.
Oh, you missed the ghost.
Yeah, what happened?
Same
Okay, so we
thing.
almost made it 3 episodes with first bathroom break in 3 episodes.
I
I had
know.
a lot of coffee this morning, but it sounded like something died out here when I was back there. What happened? The boards fell again?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
I was
Where
I
were
was
we
just
at?
asking Minty about his life in California that was before you moved to Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went
And what projects you were working on
Philly,
there?
Southern California, Portland.
Okay.
When I was working in Philly or living in Jersey and Philly, I worked at Failure Skate Shop, and it was amazing working at a skate shop. It's like the reason I can do this and build boards and talk to people is because I put the time in. And,
Is that shop still around?
I think Adam might have tried to resurrect it, maybe as a brand. I don't know what he's doing, but
Maybe change the name
So
to Success.
that'd be great. I mean, we all need a little of that. It was Shane and Adam had Sub-Zero, and they split. Shane went to Philly, Adam stayed in Jersey, and for some reason, Sub-Zero skyrocketed. They had Ricky and Matt Reasons and Serge and all those guys.
Ricky who?
Ricky Ola.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just they revolutionized like street skating in a time when it was really boring and there was a lot of little wheels. Those guys were riding 60s and doing wall rides on cellar doors and just pushing lines through the city. And you're like, what the hell is going on here? And fighting people or whatever in the Sub-Zero video. You can check it out on YouTube. But when I stopped working at the skate shop, I got this job building store fixtures for Urban Outfitters. And I was just, my friend's like, yeah, they need some people. And I needed a job. And I went in and they're like, you know how to build stuff? And I was like, yeah, build skateboard ramps. I know how to build stuff. And I'm like, okay, we got to make these furniture. Here's the pictures. And I didn't know, I knew how to build a skateboard ramp, but I didn't know how to build furniture. I built all of their stuff. I'm like, yeah, got it. Plywood, put together.
Once you build furniture, you can probably build a pretty good
I just
mini
built
ramp
everything
after
like
that.
a skate ramp.
Yeah.
I'm like sides, ribs, seat. They took them to the store,
Or vice
and
versa.
in like a week, everything fell apart.
Or no, I was thinking of a boat builder because that's what
Oh, yeah.
I think. If you read like Tony Hawk's biography or like watch the videos about his dad Frank Hawk and who was a legendary ramp builder and like kind of helped to, from my understanding, helped to figure out how to do like corner pockets and wooden bowls and stuff. And I think it was like the people that used to build ships kind of added some engineering to it.
So what'd you do after all that stuff
It's
fell
also
apart?
basic, like, oh, you build it like this. Oh, and it all fell apart. And they're like, what? I thought you could build stuff. And this dude came. They're like, we got help for you. You got to do some stuff. And he's like, where's the wood glue? And I'm like, what do you mean wood glue? And he's like, you build stuff, you got to glue it together. And I'm like, oh, no, you just screw it together.
as I
I
always
didn't even know what wood glue was.
knew.
So I went from that to like working for this company that built all the Urban Outfitters, and I kind of learned how to actually build furniture through that and how to manage people, and eventually ran the Urban Outfitters installation crews. And I hired all my friends who were skaters, and we'd travel around and build the Urbans in different cities. And I'd be like, all right, I'm taking Jake, I'm taking Paul, I'm taking Dan, I'm taking Rich. What's skate park? Where's the skate park? Okay, and I'd plan out all the itinerary where we were staying based on skate parks, and we'd take our boards and go. And Urban loved us because we pulled miracles off all the time, and we worked with all the people there. I learned how to work with all different construction managers at all levels of jobs.
Is that
It was awesome.
did that help you
Oh, hell.
leaning in to lead into the skate park here?
Uh,
Minty was pretty involved in the design of the new skate park, or at least in helping. He helped a lot in the process for the new skate park.
But
Do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Before we do that,
well,
I want to go back to your question.
Okay.
How you stay skateboarding?
Sorry.
okay.
We-
Let's
we
go.
got
Let's get Mike's
sidetracked. I had
answer.
to go to the bathroom.
I'm gonna put it-
Yeah, let's get Mike's side of it.
Yeah,
So
we
that
need
was Minty's answer on how to stay within skateboarding.
Don't be too
yeah,
serious.
go.
Your answer was don't be too serious about it.
Don't take it too seriously, even though it's the most important thing in life.
Okay. What's
My
my
answer is if you're already, how old are you?
I'm 34, just turned
34.
also 34?
I'd say if you're already like in your 18, 19, 20 and already passionate, you're probably going to do it the rest of your life. And if you have kids or job and all that's going to happen whether you like it or not. And if you still stay with it, it's naturally going to evolve
Just
down the chain.
Keep doing
It
it.
happened to me with my kids. I always say, like the Dentine commercial, for those that remember that. 3 out of 4 kids skated out of my family. So it just, if there's a skateboard lying around and they see dad doing it,
Yeah.
it's just naturally going to happen.
Yeah. I'm watching my nephews get into it right now, and that they get all into it and stuff. It's
Yeah.
By
And
the
I
way,
always say,
Mike's sons are both phenomenal skateboarders, pro-level
I'll back
skateboarders
that.
who
Chris was a pro
don't even care.
for Natural Concepts for many years. Now he's
Sick.
turning the big 4-0. And he's freaking out.
I
We
wish
did
I was
that at
40 again.
3-0 too. But yeah, he was pro. I have some of his. I don't have him on display in here, but I did have him on the old shop.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And Brandon, he's always rode for, like a shop level.
That's one of the things that you're just making me think about it. I'm like, one of the best parts of skating, or one of the coolest versions of it, is being able to, like, the vicarious feeling of stomping a trick by, like, helping someone else to learn how to do it. Like, teaching a kid how to drop in, seeing the excitement on their eyes, watching them, like, climb the ladder of skill.
Mm-hmm.
I coached for a long time at camp, and I use the word coach loosely, but there were moments that were definitely coaching, and it feels special to watch that.
As an adult, as you grow up, and if you have kids, yes, there are, times of lull because you're working or you're injured or, you're raising kids. But if it comes around, it comes around, and I've seen it many times where almost the motivation becomes your kid,
Mm-hmm.
and, you're there together. I have a good story on that from Hawaii, the Florence family, which John Florence, he's like
Yeah, big surfer.
world-renowned, and their whole family, all the boys. And it started because the mother was a pro surfer, Alexandra. And so she was bringing the kids, they were much younger, but they come to the hangar and skate, and she was like, I'm just not going to sit around. I'm going to give skating a whirl too. And the story is she would bring her friends, her girlfriends, and they were all surf skate girls. The kids were zonked out. On the weekends were open till 10. Kids were just hammered out, exhausted, hungry. They're at the table, and mom and her friend are up there still getting rides, and the kids
That's sick.
Come on, mom, we're hungry. Can we
You're
go?
going to tell the kid, one more try.
In Alex we call her, but she's like, one more run, and I was like, I love it. It's just it got flipped, just the opposite. So that happens all the time where
I love that.
parents,
Do we need to maybe do a screen of little kid merch that says one more try?
one more try.
You're like, Dad,
classic.
I'm tired. Can we go?
Yeah, that's sick. Well, that's some goals to be for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the old Sandy Park for a second, just because I want to kind of hijack this and gush about it. Feel free to step aside if you need to hit it. So the old Sandy skate park for me is, where are we going? Oh, Minty's got thank you. Dude, this is appropriate. So Minty just went and grabbed it off the shelf and brought it over to me. I am holding a piece of the old Sandy skate park. I don't know how I didn't think to put this on there. Thank you.
With a handwritten note?
Handwritten note. This is actually from me to the shop. We're going to set this right up there. So that is a piece of the fly-out hip that everyone would start at the bowl. You would run, you'd throw down, you'd go down the ramp, then you'd do a fly-out hip. I like to do kickflip indies or a melon. Everyone would set up a trash can or a cone.
Backside for Goofy Rider.
Yep.
Yeah.
So many hours spent skating that thing. So when they broke this, or when the skate park was demolished, I went there in the middle of the night and walked out there and honestly cried my eyes out and picked up a piece right from the G spot of where you would snap your tail there, and that's what's sitting on the table in front of us. That place is so sacred to me. It opened, I believe the grand opening, I have it written down here, July 3rd of 2000. I started skating, like I said, in 97 or 98, but I remember it being super in line. I think Sandy was the second skate park I'd ever gone to. When I first started skating, we'd go to Tron, which was wood at the time. Leif was saying he skated
we talked
there
about
also.
this last episode, I think.
And then I remember my aunt was like, yeah, they opened a new skate park in Sandy. So we went out there, and it was brand new concrete. I remember everything felt like it was giant, but, I was able to, roll down. It was definitely, a lot of firsts. All of my firsts were at that skate park. First time, rolling into a big bowl. First time, I remember just battling, popping onto a 50-50 on the bump to ledge there, and it feeling like it was chest high. I remember it was a day where it was, middle of summer, super hot out. I was just dying of heat. But I still had a beanie on and my shirt off. I remember my mom's like, why don't you take your beanie off? You're too hot. And I was like, no, had to keep the beanie on for swag points or something. I don't remember. But anyway, so much time spent there. I grew up in Estacada, which is a couple, one town over in the middle of the woods. I grew up on gravel road, so there's like nowhere to skate. So I would just literally skate in my bedroom on the carpet and pretend that I was at Sandy Skate Park and would do lines and like practice the tricks. And I would like fantasize about doing tricks that I would never do. Like I remember pretending about doing like 720s over like the pyramid and stuff like that. Just I don't know. I could sit here and just like talk about
spin on a rug on a deck with no trucks.
Straight up, just pivoting. Yeah, just carpet boarding.
Do you remember the first time you went to the Sandy Skate Park?
Yeah.
Was there people there?
Oh yeah, it was like it just opened. So I remember going there and like I was probably the little kid that had no idea what was going on. I was probably in the way.
Was
of
it
everyone.
intimidating or no?
Yeah, it was so terrifying.
Okay.
I remember just like rolling through and like just being excited and like just I was scared to roll down by the where the bowl was. We used to call it the G spot. It said go. There was a square that had go spray painted on the ground with arrows because everyone would stand there and that's where you
kind
of
the starting point.
Start.
Yeah.
Everyone would take their turns. And I was too scared to roll down the straight part because it had some transition. And in my mind, it was like a quarter pipe. So I'd roll down the bank that was like kind of tongued out by the bowl. Yeah, lots of good times skating there. The most terrified I ever was skating there was they used to do a thing called the Sandy Skate Fest. Have you guys heard of this?
I have heard of that.
So we need to have a separate conversation about how we're going to revamp this because people are going to talk about it at the end. A lot of friends called in talking about the Sandy Skate Fest. But every summer we'd have a big skate contest at the skate park, and it was huge. I mean, I have a little kid memory of it, so it kind of might have been exaggerating how big it was. But I remember there being like thousands of people down there, like a wall, because it was during mountain days, so like a lot of people down there.
What years did that competition run?
Oh, I wish I knew, but I think it was probably from when it opened all the way through. The last year that it ran was my senior year of high school, which I graduated 2009. I think it was that summer, but
it's almost 10 years.
Because I remember the contest was like a fizzle of what it used to be. It was literally just the people that were competing in it and like 3 dudes from the skate shop Northern Alliance at the time, and I actually ended up finally like placing.
I think you mentioned that.
Yeah, because like no one showed up to it,
Uh-huh.
and I remember it being on the fence because like I was the Estacada kid, and like there's kind of like some Sandy Estacada small town beef or whatever. I was never a part of it, but I remember people wouldn't really talk to me as much when I showed up.
Who
at the
got
skate
second
park.
place?
I think I got second. I forget
Oh,
who
you got
first.
beat out.
But I remember I wasn't even gonna. Cam came to me afterwards, and he's like, "So they're trying to figure out if you're gonna place or who's gonna place, and I just want you to know that like I put in a good word.
Cam voted for you.
Yeah,
Nice.
so shout out to Cam Weeg. I think he made it to where like I placed, and honestly, that meant so much to my little kid heart.
He was one of the first.
All right, we are back recording again. There's a brief intermission there while we figured out our equipment, but we're a bunch of skaters out here trying to just figure out how to run a podcast, so
Technical opportunities.
trying to get it done. But anyways, we were talking about Cam Weeg. He is one of the first guys that came into the shop.
Yes, not the
Very
first
appropriate.
customer, but one of the first guys I sort of got to know as a local. And he was very instrumental in helping me within the shop. We got to know each other. He basically sort of like was the pre-Leif within the shop.
Yeah, Cam's always been the shop guy of Sandy.
I was going through a lot. I was becoming my parents' parent. I was having to go trips to Kentucky. Cam was there to help fill my void and at least keep the shop going.
Respect, Cam.
Who
You're a good guy.
who was the first customer? Do you know?
Charlie.
All right.
Also very proper. That's awesome. Thank you, Charlie.
I got a picture too somewhere. It's probably in the Instagram file of and he was like, just.
I think we have
awesome.
3 podcasts, and everyone shouted out Frick Charlie so far.
I think that Charlie really wanted to be on the skate park episode.
I know,
and I
I
feel
told
bad
him.
for not having him here, but it's literally just a technicality of like I have.
We'll get
4
you on
mics
there.
And we had to have the shop guys on because it's
Didn't
the
you-
shop episode.
did you
so
get a
We're
recording?
gonna have him on. Yeah, Charlie did give us a submission, so you guys are gonna hear from him here in a moment.
Awesome.
You know we love you, Charlie.
Another
Word.
real quick before we get off it. First customer. Fun fact. first
For record shop?
first
Yeah, who was
record
the first
shop
record shop?
customer.
Shout him out.
Leif Draznin-French.
Oh, my mom, Laura Lee
Yeah.
French.
your-
Mama Chuck.
Nice.
Your mom was my first customer, and she bought a red Woody Guthrie record, red vinyl Woody Guthrie.
Awesome.
I was like, you rule. I didn't even know her, and I was just like, yep, you guys are awesome.
Those were the days when it was hard to let things go, eh, Minty?
That one, I was just like, yeah, this is meant to be. You take this one. But yeah, I used to. I'd be like,
People
record
would
shop.
come
Well,
in,
this
they
one's
would-
my favorite.
How much for this
I
one?
don't know.
Well, it started off with your own
It's hard to
personal collection.
it's hard to sell stuff if you're coming in and the customers are trying to buy it and you're like, actually, I want to keep that.
Yeah,
Well,
not a good
It was
business
his
model.
own personal collection.
That's
That's
so
why
sick.
it makes it even harder.
Yeah.
I just sold Nick's records because I didn't have emotional attachment to them.
Yeah.
What
so
is-
shout out to Nick?
What is your
Zerong,
Nick?
'cause he-
Also, you're about to hear from him here in a little bit. Nick's a
Nice.
Cool.
great skater
Ripper.
from Sandy area. Helps out in the record shop here. What's your favorite record that you have in house?
in-house. Man, that changes because I listen to so many every day. I got a little crate here.
Got an arsenal.
Yeah,
Minty, if
I
you're
just had to
listening,
fix
Minty's digging into a pile
De La
of records he
Soul.
has. De La Soul album.
Gangstar, KRS-One.
Oh, we got a lot. All right, we're getting into it. KRS-One.
Gosh.
You got the vinyl of that? That's
Yeah,
sick.
well, this is too bouncy.
Is
But
it KRS-One? Is that how you say it? I've only ever read it.
BDP,
Okay.
Boogie Down Productions, that's
Yep.
KRS-One. Bad Brains, Rock for Light. This record
There
changed
you
my
go.
life. Got it for $1 out of the dollar bin at Philly Record Exchange. We're supposed to be talking
Seen
about
them
the
a
skate
few
park, but I'll
times.
say one more
No,
thing.
dude, it's good. Let's take it. I want to hear about your records.
Oh, this was really important too. Kind of corny nowadays, but Rat Out of the Cellar, one of the first metal records I ever got, hair metal.
Nice.
They're
Heck
awesome.
yeah.
Melvin's one of the most important bands ever.
I was listening to Melvins
Seattle.
while I was doing work yesterday. It was
Seattle,
getting the
right?
brake job done.
Yeah,
It was putting some grimy stuff. It was good.
it'll get you through it.
Yeah.
And,
Suffer through the rain.
Last band I'm going to shout out is Dead Moon.
Local Portland band.
Portland Legends.
Yep.
Dead Moon.
R.I.P.
All this stuff's available in the shop.
And Minty will give you a lot of great suggestions if you have something you're looking for.
And if you don't have a record player yet, but you want to get started on a vinyl collection, he can help you with that as well.
Yeah, and everybody that buys a record gets a free record.
Uh-huh. Buy one, get one. Sick. But, yeah, so record shop, skate park. I was gushing about the Sandy skate park. I could do this for like 3 hours, but I just really want to pay homage to the people that skated there and made it what it was. You know, when I think of my childhood and growing up as a skater, like I just instantly picture the Sandy skate park. Like for me and for everyone else that was growing up out here at the time, that the skate park, that was skateboarding. You know, you would have Transworld and you'd have Thrasher and you'd have Skateboarder Mag and you'd see all these things. But for me, I wasn't in Southern California. We wouldn't even go skate in Portland really. Like my parents didn't know what the scene was about or like how to go like navigate that or like where to go to. Like we knew that our town had a skate park and we're going to take our kid there. And you know, for me, that place and the people around it, that was skateboarding. And thank you guys for making that place a special place to be. Everyone that submitted. This is the part where I might start crying. So love you guys. Thank you for all the good times there. There's too many of you to mention. I tried to get voice memos and whatnot from everybody, but you know, I'm sure a couple fell through the cracks.
Donovan, can I turn the tables and ask you a question
course.
about the Sandy skate park?
Yeah, fire away.
Take this how you will, no disrespect. My opinion of the Sandy skate park was informed by, you know,
Showing
an
up
opinion
to it
3
when it was all
years ago,
decrepit.
coming
Yeah,
and saying,
yeah, totally.
"Oh, it's a skate park," and being like, "What the hell?" But did you guys know that that park was like really hard to skate and abrupt? And I know it was kind of like done by volunteers or like
It was built in, like I said, in 2000. And at the time, you know, I might be missing it here. This is a little kid's memory, but the options that are around was the Wood Skate Park in Beaverton. Gresham, the Rockwood Park, had a tiny little like pyramid and a bank. So that was the best skate park that we had in
it's
the
concrete.
immediate area. It was concrete. It was flowy. You could pump around it. It was all like super rough. We would skate that bowl in the back like a mini ramp for hours, not realizing that the kink at the bottom was so gnarly. But like you know, I had that bowl memorized to where I know the little parts of the coping that work
Which
for
part you
certain
can
tricks.
actually grind on, which part you
yeah,
can
because
pop off.
it isn't that friendly.
Yeah, there wasn't any other options in
Yeah.
Oregon, really.
No, and it
Or
you know,
many other.
obviously it got worse as it aged, but when it was brand new, I remember it being the shit. Like it was so much fun, and that was the touchstone that I would judge all other skate parks against.
So when you got Estacada, were you like,
Dude, I was freaking out because I was living in Utah, either Bend or Utah, when Estacada opened, and that's like my hometown park. And we had been trying to get the skate park built in Estacada since I was a little kid, and things happened to the funds and whatnot. So to hear that was finally happening, I was picturing like a basketball court with some benches or like a modular setup. Like I didn't know what we were gonna get, and to see that we had a whole like, you know, evergreen dreamland collab skate park out there, it's insane. It's kind of crazy to see that place is starting to get a little rough. And now that the new park is opening here in Sandy, I feel like, you know, it might be closing the chapter a little bit on Estacada being the premier park in the area. Obviously, I think that we'll all still skate there. I live super close to it, but
yeah? Well, it sounds like there's a really dedicated group of Estacada skaters. I mean, they are organizing on IG. There's, you know, a group text about maintenance, and there's people putting their money where their mouth is.
sick.
to,
Let me
like,
plug
go-
me into that because I definitely want to be
Yeah.
a part of it. And, you know, we need to seal that place before it gets worse. But
Yeah, it's on the books, so definitely get involved with that.
yeah, so
Grassroots.
I don't know. Let's see if I'm missing anything on the old Sandy Park. I'm sure I am, and I'll think of things I didn't say on here. But we have a lot of submissions from the people that also skated there, and we're just going to let all those play to close out the show here at the end. So we'll let them speak to
What
it.
was your favorite feature at the old park, Donovan?
Favorite feature was the pyramid ledge, for sure.
The gap,
because
the flat down.
yeah, there's so
Yeah,
many ways to
okay.
skate it. You could skate the pyramid, like you could skate like a hip from both sides. You
Uh-huh.
could skate the bump to ledge on the flat down, and
Okay.
then later on, I thought that was like real big boy stuff to skate the flat ledge all the way out.
Yeah.
I actually, dude, I don't have it anymore. It's like healed up, but for the longest time, I had a scar going from my right shoulder down across my chest. It looked like I got slashed with a sword because I used to haul ass and try to 5-0 the out ledge, and I
Uh-huh.
just missed the lock-in one time, like
Uh-huh.
full speed, slipped out and just bellied out on the coping on that thing
Oh.
and just like sliced my chest open.
Did you ever get anything good on the rail, the C rail?
Like
Thought that
a-
was kind of a unique
Yeah,
feature.
that thing lasted the test of time. That thing is still fun to skate. It's not there anymore, obviously, but just like Feebles, front
Nice.
board.
Cool.
I'm not really a great rail skater,
Leif,
but
what-
I've seen people do better things there.
What's your favorite obstacle there?
I wasn't a big Sandy skate park local, but I like that hip too that Donovan was talking
Yeah.
about with the ledge.
I
Yeah.
do want to shout out some notable people from my childhood growing up there. You know, the kings of the skate park. There's a guy named Tranny Danny, which hasn't aged well, but he was a really good transition skater. Not sure where he's at or even what his full name is, but when I was a little kid looking up at him being the older guy killing the park, like, you know, he was pro in my eyes. There's a kid named Willie. He used to have amazing like stale fishes on the hip. Best style I've ever seen, honestly. I hope he still skates. I don't see him super often, but people I still see. Brent was a couple years older than me. We got a story from him, but he was like, I'd be scared to talk to him because he was so cool and like so good by comparison. Like all the Sandy kids are really good. You know, there's Cam, there was Matt Deggs, Robert Solario, Paul and I probably skated there the most through a couple different phases. I know that I'm just like rambling off names you guys probably don't recognize, but they're Chris Ing, Lil Chris, fucking amazing skater.
Did you
super
know
talented.
Richie?
Oh man, Richie.
He's the guy that pops in the shop, goes back and forth here. I've always heard he was like a pretty good Sandy skater.
If I saw him, maybe I don't know him by name, but
You
there's
know-
a lot of
you
people
know,
you
he
see
comes in the shop.
that you just like
Gab's,
never like.
I won't say he hangs out at Mining Park. You know, he's sort of like on the street.
Oh, okay, but like super good skater. I think I know who you're
Was.
talking about. Yeah.
Always has a skateboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was he staying up by the bus stop for a while? 'Cause I
Yes.
saw someone
Yes,
that
staying
was
up by
in a
Richie.
houseless
Super
situation
talented
that was
skater.
Doing slashes
Shorter
on the
guy.
curb.
I
I'm
just
like,
heard
why
back
is
in the
that-
day he
why
was
can't you
like
stay with somebody.
He was
really
good.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, I do know who you're talking about, and yes,
I think
he
it's
was
Richie.
super good.
I don't think it was Ricky. I think it's Richie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so lots of talent growing up at the skate park, and I'm really sorry if I didn't mention you. I'll make sure to to catch up and tag you at some point here. But yeah, the old skate park, man. I don't know. You guys want to hear an old guy talk about his childhood anymore, or should we kick the torch to the new guy? Because
It just sounds like the inside of my head.
because the thing that we're really excited about is that, the old skate park got removed to make way for the new Sandy skate park, which opens here in a couple days. November 2nd is the grand opening, and it is insane. It is a full-on California-style skate park. It looks like, what's that one down in San Diego that has, like, the red? Linda Vista. It's like Sandy's version of Linda Vista. Obviously, it's not that big, but there's a little bit of something for everyone. It's flowy like that. There's, we've always been hard up for a good street park out here. We're
Yeah.
so blessed that we have Dreamland and Grindline and Evergreen creating amazing skate parks in the Northwest. But as someone who grows up watching, a lot of skateboarding, there, and especially back in like Trans World days and stuff, it was all like SoCal clean skating, and we didn't have a lot of ledges and rails up here. Like a lot of the Sandy kids wanted to be that kind of like girl street skater, you know what I mean? Girl chocolate. So now we have that in Sandy, which is sick. You can actually go there and you skate ledges. You can get your technical skating on. I'm excited. I don't know, Minty, you want to talk a little bit about the
Yeah.
design process for the new park? Because Minty actually went and saw that there was a need for a skater to get involved in the design process. And I don't know, you tell me about it. I wasn't there.
Yeah, I guess
How did you
When I-
get involved in the design process?
I moved to Sandy 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 months or what it would be, a month after I moved here, went to the skate park and was a little
The
underwhelmed.
old Sandy skate park.
God bless it. I just was like, wow. I always thought this park would be bigger and better. It's Sandy. It's like right before you get to Mount Hood, and Windell's is up there, and it just felt like, man, this is such a great little town. There were so many other good things happening. I really just came to Mike and was like, what's going on? Is anybody trying to get a skate park built? Or there was some DIY fix-it stuff there, and I'm like, man, we should go down there and just jackhammer some stuff and fix it ourselves. And I didn't know about the DIY and Govey happening. Maybe it wasn't happening yet, but I mentioned it to Mike, and he's like, somebody was doing something. And then
For years, there was talk.
Yeah.
For years.
I think I reached out to Rochelle, who's the Parks and Rec director, on the Sandy webpage after Mike told me, like, hey, somebody's doing a skate park. And I'm like, all right, I got to figure this out.
Used
And
to be
I
a
just-
lady named Carol that was running it for the city
Yeah.
of Sandy. That's who organized like the
Okay.
skate fest and everything. I should have gotten her to be a part of this, but
Oh, man.
yeah, shouts Carol. Thank you for everything.
I think I was just like, what can we do to make sure we get a good park? Who's organizing this? And then I think I sent her like this self-promoting email. I forwarded it all to you so you can read it. Kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, I was gonna say you sent me some emails that went back and forth between you guys where
Yeah.
it looks like you I was surprised to see. I'm like, oh, Minty was really like on the ground floor of the design process of the skate park.
Yeah, it was.
Like you kind of designed the skate park.
I mean,
Am I wrong in
it was
saying
a
that?
collaborative
Okay.
effort.
Because
but
I saw that
did-
you
yeah, I mean-
to steal the words from you. I saw that you had an email where you took the Silverton skate park here
Yeah.
in Oregon, and then you also took, what was the other one? Glenhaven. It was like Glenhaven and Silverton, and you
Yeah.
kind of flipped the like that was your template, and then you kind of took stuff from all that and merged it all together to fit the space, and that's
Yeah,
how we
we
kind
were-
of came out with the design for the park.
Originally, they were like, "Yeah, it's going to be built where the old skate park was." So I figured we were going where the
Not
skate
even
park
much
was.
bigger.
And it was
Yeah.
7,000.
Initially.
Much bigger. It was going to
7,000.
be much bigger.
No.
No,
Oh,
The same.
they were going to
Oh,
make
it's gonna be the exact same
The old
footprint.
skate park was 7,000 square feet,
Uh-huh.
and I think after we started working on it and talked about actual numbers, like, well, we have about 9,000 square feet. I'm like, you're building the same size skate park? Better be
This is something
good.
we didn't mention, but the old Sandy skate park was built on school grounds, and which was kind of funny because you couldn't skate during the school day. You would get kicked
Yeah.
out by the police at the skate park if you were skating while school was in session.
That's weird.
So now it's like, is it still school property or
No,
is it
well,
the city bought
the
it
city
now?
bought it.
Okay,
It's the old.
So we can skate.
It's the old track.
all day.
Yeah, so this whole park, it's a 10-acre plan. It's Cedar Park. It was this community campus park development, whatever they called it. And now it's kind of Cedar Park Base Camp. They're trying to brand it. But, I just thought, oh, we're designing a skate park, cool. And I went on Google Maps and got the park. I just, I tell people, hey, I want to help, but in my head, I'm like, I'm already doing this. I'm not going to wait for them. I'm just going to like do my design thing. And I went on Google Maps and got it, scaled it out, and started drawing stuff out. And initially I was proposing use the whole park, just build a path around the whole park and do like pods of like skate stuff around the park. And like there's a small street area and a small tranny area, and then you got to skate over here, and then there's a medium spot, and across the path, a little further, there's another thing. And I'm just not thinking about numbers or budget or the fact that there's an architect designing this
Yeah, you're
park.
just literally
I'm like,
drawing shit
the
that you
whole
think would be
park's
cool.
a skate park.
Yeah.
It's this new concept where we get everything we want and you just do it for us. And they're like, yeah, it doesn't work that way. You have this footprint. So they gave it back to me. And like, ARC's going to design the park. American Ramp Company got the bid. And I'm like, oh my God, no. And, shout out
That's
to
kind
ARC
of like
now.
Isn't that a modular skate park company?
They
Yes.
were.
Okay.
And I have a completely, I put my foot in my mouth before, saying, well, ARC just makes crappy skate parks. I make modular skate parks. And they did, but they have transitioned into building a company called Pivot who does their construction of skate parks.
For
and obviously
concrete.
it trickles back and forth. And
That's who, like, Pivot crew
built
is who
this
we saw
park.
down there building. Because there was, like,
Yeah.
some, legit dudes down there building.
OGs.
And we saw some
It's-
pros down there with them. Like,
It's definitely pivot on the, would you say, the building bid side for
Yeah. It was
whoever they're doing it for, but the crew were Grindline, Dreamline guys.
that's what it seemed like, yeah.
It was a
Sick. So it's proper.
Yes.
Yeah,
Which
there's
is-
this
Thank you
whole-
all for getting out there and getting the sweat equity to build us a sick park. We really appreciate it. And sorry for going and skating while you were working.
No, those guys. I
think they
it
expected
doesn't
that.
bother them. I think
Yeah.
it just the rest of the park people were like, you can't skate in an active construction zone. And
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind
my
of-
family does
can't do it.
construction, so I respect the job side.
Yeah.
Like, I can hold off, but
Well,
anyways.
they get it. They're skaters too, so that's the important part. And ARC started out as like, in my mind, I'm like, we got to stop these guys. We got to get in between them and the park and make sure we get like a good park, because I didn't want them to do a modular.
You want
ramp
them to
park.
blow the wad on a
Yeah.
shitty skate park.
So I went online and I'm like, oh, this is the contracts on the city, and it's a webpage, and I went in and I'm like, you see exactly what everybody signed. An American Ramp Company got like $50,000 to design the park, and the architect got like $140,000 to design the whole park, and they're supposed to collaborate. And we're like, well, we want to be involved in this, and I just somehow weaseled us into like, we're gonna do this no matter if you want us to or not. We're gonna like give you all these skate ideas. So I just started flooding them with stuff, and I think Rochelle was like, okay, we're gonna start there's feedback meetings you can come to. And I was
We
like,
need
cool,
to like start a
here's this-
committee kind of a thing.
well, yeah, here's this. We went to the first meeting, and I'm like, here's a skate park I designed. We should build this, and here's all this. And they're like, wait, dude, we're like,
How long was
putting
the process
stickers
of
on
that? It was
pictures.
like kicking back and forth for like a year or two?
It was about, no, that's the crazy thing. It started in January, and they had a deadline of April to like get the park
The
public
design.
feedback and design it and get it approved so they could apply for these SDC funds to fund the park. And they're like, okay, we're starting a design and we got to be done in 2 weeks or whatever. And we're like, what?
That was the other kicker. There was a deadline
Yeah,
for
so
funding.
everything we were talking about.
And if they didn't meet the deadline for funding, there was no funds.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So there was a little bit of like trust we had to put in them. Like, hey, we want to do all this, and like, just trust us, do this, and then we'll change it. And the way that my experience has gone with every project ever is like, everybody promises everything at the beginning, and then things happen, and you do what you can, and you do the best you can. And I would say now, at the end of this process, looking back, this was a really great collaboration between a whole bunch of people who weren't intending to work together, who somehow just gave each other voice and listened. And I did enough of the like listening to come back here and be like, okay, this is what I learned from going to the city council meeting, and
Yeah,
we should
because
do
when
this.
I remember you saying that, you're like, hey, I forget exactly what you said or whatever, but you were talking about how you were like kind of poking the design process for the
Yeah.
skate park, and in my head I was just like, oh, Minty went to a meeting and like said something at the meeting, like, that's cool, thank you for showing up. But once you sent me the emails, I was looking through and looking at the designs you came up with versus the design that the park actually is. I'm like, holy shit, Minty designed the skate park. Like, they built Minty skate for more or less, it seems like they built the skate park that you designed.
I mean,
And the local within me was kind of like distaste at first. I'm like, fuck, some dude that like wasn't even a local here at the old park designed the new park? Like, what the fuck? But then you see the new park and you nailed it. Like, thank you. You did such a good job. Like, the park's amazing, and you just came into the scene and then acted as the mediator between the local skaters here that come through the shop and then the city that doesn't skate, that's trying to make these decisions, and you help to voice the local skate community's concerns of what they want, what the kids are after, what kind of things that we need, and you kind of took that and you were just a spokesperson for everybody, and we needed that, and we didn't even know that we needed that. So thank you. You did a killer job.
That's definitely, it's fortunate, like back in the original Sandy Skate Park, the story I got, and this is very familiar in that time frame and earlier. Communities, cities would get together, and let's just say you didn't have like Minty or myself.
Someone
close,
stepping in, making sure that
right,
it's done right.
And the kids sometimes they know what they want, but then of course they don't know how it should be built or a layout or anything like that, and so they just give it to a general contractor who's poor sidewalks, and then they do the best they can, and someone comes up with a drawing and it might not be perfect, or the transitions might not be perfect, or there might be a kink at the bottom of the
something
bowl.
that someone might not realize who doesn't skate.
So nowadays that doesn't happen as much because we've all gotten older, and those skaters have now become contractors and concrete finishers and started their own companies, especially here in the Pacific Northwest as being one of the top-notch ones, and so now they are involved in the process. So it filters back down, but it always, we don't like to go backwards and make the same mistakes, so it does help. I think in the end, with the crew that showed up, they would not have built anything that was on paper that was wrong, and they already modified and made corrections even in our current park.
That's something I missed the ball on. I wanted to go down and kind of interview the dudes that were building the park and see who. I'm sure we kind of might have known some of the guys that were down there working.
Mike Swim,
Okay.
legend, was down there.
Who should we give shout outs to? You know better than that.
So originally, Matt Gatsby got hired as the project manager on site, but I think he wasn't there at the beginning. Scott Sorensen, I believe he was a pro snowboarder, skateboarder, but a name I knew, became the PM. We had Disa, Dave, worked for all different companies, Grindline, whatever. Mike Swim was on it. He was one of the first guys. We were like, hey, Swim.
He was like the foreman, right?
Like, can you bid on this? Because he has his own company, and it just, the way the contract and the bid went out is a story unto itself. We could talk for a half hour about it. I'm just gonna say it all worked out, but it almost didn't. And just the fact that like those guys were on it, like Mike said, they came in and they were actually like, hey, you know what? This plan's actually pretty good. And I was like, cool, like we worked hard on it, but you guys obviously do what you need to do. It's make it better, whatever. Some of this stuff is ambiguous, and I was like, yeah, this is a pumpy area with some like evergreen type stuff. And they were like, cool, do you mind that we put this pool pocket in with roll-ins and like an extra quarter pipe? And it's like, no, that's great, thanks.
It became a really good collaborative effort.
Yeah, the donut, like nobody would ask for a donut. There was this weird volcano bank, like a big dish with a coping around it, and I was like, that's cool, but like you're just not going to really be able to
more
skate
in the
them.
way than anything else.
Yeah, and they lowered it and made it a donut, and you can like, I haven't
through
skated it yet, but apparently what I've
seen
heard
it
is
gapped already.
you can pump up it, change direction. It's great. And then it was like Mike said, everything they did, they just made better. But I was really, I knew the street area would work out. I advocated for much more street area initially when we weren't talking square footage. I had this vision of a plaza that was like a high-low plaza because there's a high field and a low field. So you have like a smaller high plaza with like gaps and level changes and steps going down to the low plaza, and it would have worked perfectly because you could have all that stuff and rails and curbs and everything in that, and it could be nobody's interrupting it flying out of a bowl or whatever, and then the beautiful bowl would be over there. But the way it worked out, it got a little smaller, but we were able to get 22,000 square feet of skate park compared to the 7 we used to have. So
Sick.
to me, like, it's a win no matter
Yeah,
what.
it's going to be one of the best parks in Oregon
Yeah.
now.
Very
So
nice.
yeah.
Very
Swim took
fortunate.
the flow park, that Silverton-based flow park, and was like, hey, this is cool, and we know you want this, but kind of want to rework it. And I'm like, dude, you're a legend. Like, yes, dude, whatever you think. And he drew me a little picture. I still have it. And I'm like, this looks like the female anatomy. It's like fallopian tubes and like all this stuff. Just a
The
very
real
sexy
inspiration for the
skate
park.
And it didn't end up in that exact shape, but the point was there was something I had envisioned, like this selfish, like, I want to grind a spine that curves up and splits into like a bigger quarter pipe, so you can grind into a wall ride and then grind the top of the quarter pipe, and that's this over, thing. And they're just like, it's not really gonna work. And I was so kind of upset, like, I really want to see this Mount Hood shaped wall that you can grind. And instead, they did one simple thing, and it opened that park up and made it 100 times better. And I'm like, that's like, even as someone, I'm like, I know what it should be, and I'm stepping in there and advocating for it. The key is like knowing when to kind of step back and let someone else do the same thing better.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee you, when you guys skate this, it's going to be the most fun flow section you've ever skated. And they put a Merce hip in there with a curvy spine, and there's a lot of mellow, 4-foot areas that go to 6, that go to 8, and cutbacks. And
It looks so fun, and
Yeah.
I got to cruise around it once so far, and I know that other people have been skating.
we can say it
I've
now.
seen
The
a
park's
couple-
going to be open by the time this
Yeah.
comes out, probably.
I've seen a couple pros getting clips there and stuff. Unfortunately, someone did go in and tagged it up already, but I don't think that they skate. It seemed like some like just little freaking hoodlum in
Definitely
town.
not.
Some like
definitely
cul-de-sac kid trying to look tough.
What,
went out there and
what was the
spray painted
clip
some
of someone
BS.
gapping the donut?
I forget who it was.
Oh, you don't know?
I just
Was it-
okay.
Brett.
It was. I don't think it was Brent Ashley. I would remember.
We
that.
saw
But
him there.
The fact that Brent Ashley was in Sandy, like little kid me, was freaking out about that. I'm like, why you're at the Sandy skate park?
And they didn't stop by the shop.
Next time, I don't know if they knew. Now that we got the BDK episode out, they'll know.
They
after
drove right
BDK.
by it.
That is the cool thing, is the shop is close enough proximity that you can just skate right to the park. You can skate up if you need something. Walk up, you break your board, come get a new board, get back down to the park. We got you dialed.
I cannot wait to see our skate team in a year, because people destroyed the old Sandy skate park, and it was like almost unskateable. And I got to say, like, every time I skate there, I'm like, I need to skate better. Like, it says on me, but this park is perfect. So these kids
There's a
that
lot of
are
room for growth.
amazing.
A lot of
There
room
is.
for
Are
growth.
going
I'm
into
excited
it
to see
knowing.
who kind of rises to the top as the new king of the skate park. I've got my speculations on who it might be, but it's gonna be cool to see.
Yeah. Well,
What's your guys' opinion on the youth participation in skateboarding? Maybe specifically to Sandy, because we do the BDK Thursdays. We all meet up on Thursday and we skate, and it's all of us older guys. And
It was a good show.
yeah, it's fun. And then there's some of the teenage kids are out there, which is sick to see. But one thing I don't feel like we see that we definitely saw a lot growing up is like the little helmeted kids just clogging up the skate park, which is the lifeblood of skateboarding, and it's what keeps the lights on at the shop. It's you got to have youth participation, otherwise it's going to fizzle out.
That's because there weren't scooters back then.
Scooters and iPads.
iPads and scooters.
So what's your guys' personal opinions on that? Are we in trouble, or is this what's going on with youth participation
no trouble.
skating?
I think it's much like what I've discovered about everything around here. In a more rural area, people are a little bit disconnected from each other, and they don't know that there are people near them that do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they meet at a place like BDK or the record shop, and they're like, "Oh, you're a weirdo like me. Cool. We're like
It's a
friends
catalyst
now."
for the community.
And then they kind of come around it. So the skate park's the same thing. Like you're not going to see little helmeted kids skating around Sandy, and if you do, it's like, well, they came and went. But when this opens up, I feel like you're going to see
That's
a
what
lot
I was
more
going
of
to
that.
mention. Now, when this opens up and we get to, spring, summer next year, especially, there will be a resurgence of youth
Everyone wanting to skate.
that
There are a lot of
want to
kids.
ride that.
Yeah, and maybe we can put something together. Nothing official. This isn't an announcement. This is just me thinking out loud. But it'd be really cool to maybe put together some sort of program to kind of help the kids who just saw that there's a brand new skate park in town but don't know what the hell to do with it. Let's get out there and let's show them what to do with it. Maybe teach, just a beginner learn how to skate program or something like that. I don't know. It's thinking out loud. We've done some stuff I mentioned this. Bob helped out with it, where we were doing a thing at the skatepark where it's like, yo, just come show up. We're going to be here for 2 hours. We'll give you some pointers. It's super informal, no money. Don't sue us if you get hurt. You know,
There'll
we'll
be
figure
just
it
the
out. We'll have a separate
logistics of it.
conversation, but
Yeah.
we're going to do something to make sure that the kids know what to do with the new park and that we're setting everyone off on the right foot. I think it's important.
For sure.
I don't want to overstate anything, but that is presently in the works with people that we all know. I think there's a lot of people kind of thinking the same thing. We're
Sick.
coming at it.
I don't have to
separately.
be the person. I've
No,
done
you
that,
are-
and
you're in
I've
there.
done it. I've gone and been that person, and I'm happy to help as I'm able to help. But if someone else wants to take that and become lead,
I
more
would
power
like to
you, and let me know what I
nominate
can do to help
Donovan
you.
to be a part of this youth outreach program. Does anyone second that motion?
This is how Mike
Hear,
got
hear.
put in
You
charge of
second
the
it? Let's
skate
vote
park
now.
committee.
Is Donovan gonna be
Mike was in
involved?
charge of the skate
Yeah.
park
Yay.
committee because Minty made him.
Yay? You gotta
Exactly.
Same way. I think he was
I'm
like,
in.
I nominate, and someone
All right.
seconded. It was official.
I'm like,
You're in.
yeah.
That's how we started Skaters of Sandy. Everyone should join our group, Skaters of Sandy, if you're not already a member. If you're in it, you know it. If not, sign up at the skate park opening or come by the shop.
What
and
we
let us
really
know.
need to do is we need to revamp the Sandy Skate Fest.
Yes, Sandy Skate
I
Fest
agree,
is
yeah.
going to happen because I'm calling it out now on the show. I just found out about Sandy Skate Fest on the show, but I'm going to make the bold proclamation that we're bringing it back to Sandy. It's going to happen. Next mountain festival, we're going to have, or the day before, if everybody wants to go on the parade, we're going to have the Sandy Skate Festival because the city has asked Skaters of Sandy to participate in the programming at the park. So we already have a foot in the door, and yes, we can.
Hopefully that takes place, and
Dreams.
no promises, no claims. But
Dreams
we'll
can
see.
come true.
For as long as I've been here, I've always, in my heart, have wanted to be more involved in that. And at this time, I think it's the appropriate
Well,
time
he
to
who is
get
most
back.
prepared for their moment of opportunity. You know, you've done a good job at, not that a master plan is in the works, but just things working out randomly. You've done a great job at supporting the community here in, this side of Mount Hood, skate-wise, and we all want to give back to the shop. So now
He's
we
a
got a brand new
godfather.
skate park right next to a kick-ass shop. Perfect combination. I don't know. Maybe it's time to kind of start putting a bow on things here, but what do you guys think? What are you most excited for at the new park? Leif, what are you most excited for there?
I think just having a good open space to skate all times of the day. Sometimes it's hard to find a spot to skate right now in Sandy, so I think just having a good public space to meet up with people and to skate by yourself too.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I agree.
What
Yeah.
about Minty? What are you most excited for there?
I'm excited for the possibilities. Like I gotta admit, I started out really selfishly. Like I live here, I want a good skate park that I want to skate. And as soon as I did that and started thinking about it, I'm like, well, my daughter lives here. I want her to have a good skate park to skate. And then I started thinking about all the kids, and it became a little bit bigger. And I'm like, no, Sandy needs this. Like, why doesn't Sandy have this? It seems like it should always have been here. So when you just kind of see, I feel like the older I get, the more I just kind of see that I'm not doing stuff. I'm just kind of like helping things along by being in the right place at the right time and not being scared to embarrass myself. So like I'm just trying to psych every kid up that comes in here. I just in the last couple of weeks I put together like 10 completes of kids that are getting their first boards because they found out about the skate park. And that is that's what I was thinking when you're asking that question. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's happening. This is gonna be a catalyst for a much bigger thing. I know that the city is like, we want to have X Games qualifiers here or whatever. In my head, I'm like, Northwest.
you never know.
Northwest
Look at
Open,
Boise.
We could have an extra
Yeah,
stop
roads
there.
like it is.
It's good enough.
It's good
the
enough.
The Combi Bowl
It's good enough.
I mean, we didn't even talk about. There's a 4 foot, 6 foot, 8
Definitely a
foot
bowl.
legit pool with tile and pool coping with a double waterfall that is like flawless.
Dude, I wish
We
I
could
would
have
have had it when I was coaching, because I was like,
Yeah.
coaching the year-round skate program up at Wendell's forever, and I had kids that were coming to train for the Olympics,
Yeah.
and we would be driving for hours to go find like the spot for them to get their thing on. And if we could just come right down to Sandy, that would have been pretty tight. So that's pretty sick. Mike, what are you most excited for with the new park?
Definitely the new park in itself. I got to do a walkthrough a few weeks ago Chris Barnes took me down there. He knew Mike Swim. And even though I had driven by and looked at it numerous times, actually walking down in it, I was so impressed and felt fortunate and happy that the work that was put in to, design aspects and the guys that actually came in to do it all worked out. And everyone's going to benefit from this. And, skate shop wise, there's going to be a little bump and some busyness in the beginning.
We
but
hope so. We hope it does.
But the main thing is the park and the aspect in the community. So, and it's much more than just skate park, pump track. The whole park.
Yeah, I was gonna
just a great city
say
park.
if you
Is there
really want
really
to
a
talk
zip line?
numbers, there is a zip line. There's a
Whoa.
grown-up playground. So just giving
Action
everybody
park,
the
they're
heads
calling
up.
it.
The big kid in you gets to play on a playground that actually fits you. So there's a giant slide that goes down the hill. There's a 100-foot zip line. There's those fake trees and rocks.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah,
You're
right.
just
next
here
to-
for the zip line.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that's the next judge shirt. But if we talk
That's kinda
numbers,
sick.
I'm gonna claim it now. I don't know how the pump track skate park things are lining up across the board, but we could say this is the biggest skate park in Oregon because it's 44,000 square feet of skatable.
It's bigger than
stuff.
Newburgh?
Newburgh's like 30 something.
Wow.
And
Okay.
the pump track too.
If you
So,
count the pump
if you
track
count
and
the
the
pump
concrete
track
skate park.
I wonder
Yeah.
what Liddell's is.
It's
Like the
44,000.
jungle.
Yeah.
The pump
But that's
track's no
private.
joke
Well, that-
either.
That's private, yeah.
But and then they
The pump track
spread
and stuff.
out a lot.
That's so sick. Well,
Leg burner.
It wasn't even the intent, but that's what ended up happening.
That's
So
the craziest thing is in the beginnings with the talks about
9,000.
like the
Yeah,
much
smallest
bigger
thing, and then
than
it,
Well, we designed the giant park, and they're like, "Cool, we're gonna build a quarter of it." And I'm like, "Wait, why?" We designed the whole thing. Like, "Well, we'll do phase 2." And I'm like, "No, you won't. Nobody ever does phase 2. We have to do it now." And I remember complaining about it at the city council, and they're like, one of them came up and was like, "Hey, you got a minute to talk?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I won't, there's nothing shady about it. He's just like, "Look, you just gotta. There's money. You just gotta figure out how to do it." So I'm on the economic development committee. Do you think the skate park will economically benefit the city? And that's like a no-brainer. We're like, hell yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there's going to be people coming
we're
from
going to sell a lot
everywhere.
of slushies.
So he's like, okay, come to the meeting on Thursday or whatever and say that. And I'm like, all right. And they called me and told me to come in, and I went to the meeting, and they did the city council thing, and they're like, okay, we got public statements now. So go ahead, Minty. And I'm like, what am I supposed to say? And I was just like, yeah, so, the skate park's great. We're super excited about it, but, if you're only going to build a portion of it, it's just going to be really difficult for that to ever be done. So can we get some more money and just build the whole thing? And they're like, how much do you need?
Wow.
And I was like, I knew how much was there, and I didn't want to overshoot. So I'm like, $1.5 to $2 million, and we can build that whole park. And they're like, all right, okay, thanks for the time. And I was like, yeah, I got to go anyway. It's Thursday. You guys have your meetings on Thursdays. I got to go to skate night. But if we had a skate park here, I could stay and then go skate. But, whatever, see ya. And I left, and Kathleen Walker, one of the council people, called me like 10 minutes later. She's like, okay, they just voted.
So BDK Thursdays was helped to get a $2 million deal done.
Yeah, they gave us 1.5 million, just for showing
What
so
what would
sick.
what
Great
advice would you give to other people in small towns to getting a skate park started?
Yeah, it sounds
if
like
if it's 5 years out, 1 year out, what advice do you have for people?
Any year out. You're thinking about it. You're in the middle of it. You're near the end of it. I got this advice from Kathleen Walker.
and she was instrumental.
Kathleen Walker's running for mayor. She was Mayor Sandy before. I'm throwing my vote behind her. I don't want to be political or anything. She's great. One of her initial ideas was to try to get a pump track here, unrelated to the skate park, and then
what about the pool?
merge together. The pool. Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Pool.
You can't.
Okay.
You can't.
Yeah.
Everyone freaks
Can't
out about the pool.
satisfy.
No, it's Taco Bell's fault. The
There
drive-thru
should be
at
a
Taco Bell
pool.
made the pool fucking
We're
collapse.
talking
and we're
Sandy
all-
Facebook drama right now.
That's phase 2.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Anyways, long story
what-
short,
Yeah,
answer
what-
Leif's
What
question.
she said was, Minty, you have great ideas, but you got to stop saying I. Start saying we. And I was like, okay,
Build
you're
a
right.
committee.
So we started Skaters of Sandy. We're like, we know we're there. We just need to go there and say. So we got 4 people together, and we're like, okay, well, here's the core. We're going to represent everybody. We'll talk to them all. And we went. And as soon as I was like, hi, we all went to the meeting. And we all stood up in a row and like, hi, I'm Minty from Skaters of Sandy. And here's my thing about the skate park. I want blah, 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 blah. And then Mike goes and like, hi, I'm Mike from Skaters of Sandy. And this is what we want for the skate park. And Adam did it. And
So you
whoever else.
think
Say
find
we.
other people in your community
Yeah.
and try and work together with them
Absolutely.
Especially if you can find some
It's the way forward.
knowledgeable
And
some
with skills.
background.
And the
Yeah,
larger
okay.
lesson before you even get to that point is rather than sit there and complain and do nothing about it, rather than be like, I wish the park was like this, or I wish we had a park. Roll up your goddamn sleeves and get busy.
I have
Get together
always-
with your friends,
Yes.
figure it out. If no one else is doing it, you're the one that's going to do it.
I've always
Take the
said
lead.
that in the past. It's easier to sit and complain about something than it is to get up and just.
Yeah, just start
Do
doing it.
something
You'll
about
figure
it.
it out. If it needs to happen, people will get behind it.
So
And,
don't.
respect for doing that, Minty, and Mike
Don't
for
sit
starting
around.
the shop, and Leif for Church. I don't know.
Everybody pulled their weight. Here,
Patting
man.
everyone on the back
Everybody's
right
put
now.
time into this thing, and that's the only way it happened.
So that's sick. Thank you guys all for your efforts there. Yeah, we got some stories from the old Sandy skate park. Some people that wrote in. Kenna said that her favorite memory from the old park was when she blew out her ACL, but still had the best day of skating. Henry, who's always out skating BDK Thursdays with us, he's a skater local, holds it down, amazing back tells. He says his favorite memory was breaking his nose and front teeth in the first 10 minutes of one of the skate fests. Then a week later, a mom told him that when she pulled up to the park that she picked up his teeth and she had them in her car. He also said Ryan Smith was an inspiration around that time. A bunch of people said that most recently when the DC team came and Wes Kramer was out there and John Gardner and
Yeah.
Starhead Body.
Evan Smith.
Evan Smith, yeah. Amazing dude to have at camp. They all pulled in and put on a demo. That was pretty special recently. And, we're about to play some stories where everyone talks about that. But before we do, I want to give a special thank you to the people in the community here that make cool stuff happen. We want to say thank you to Friday Snowboards, DGS. Lex wasn't here today. He will be back. I think he got the bronchitis when he was in New York and he's recovering from being sick. So episode 4, hopefully we got Lex back in the booth. But thank you for making DGS. I want to say shout outs to Chetch, shout outs to Hood Girls. We already plugged Mount Hood Mobile, but yeah, if you need brakes, hit me up. And yeah, BDK Board Shop, thank you for letting us film inside of here.
As always.
A record shop in Sandy. Thank you for keeping the vibes good inside the shop.
Thank you for blessing us with the podcast. I love that this is your base now. It makes it so much more fun.
I'm happy to be here. It's a good excuse to get together and have these conversations.
We all have
love it.
passions, and it passes down amongst all of us in a positive manner, for
It's
sure.
sick. So, all right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and hit play here on some skate park stories, and we'll just let that ride out.
Hey, what up, party people? This is Javi here, here to talk about the Sandy Skate Park, at least the old one, and the revamp. When I first moved to Oregon, I was 8 years old. I didn't know anybody. My cousin Harry Saldivar got me into skateboarding, which was godsend. And the only place on Mount Hood to really skate was like the Thriftway, little store there. There was a little curb by the old bank. There was a cheese grater 5-stair, and I skated at my middle school. And I got kicked out of every spot every day. But I did that for a bit. But when I was about 10 years old, I was breakdancing with my older brother David. We used to do that all the time at the Sandy Senior Center, along with my cousin Harry that got me into skateboarding, and Jeff Todd, a.k.a. Muff. We threw actually a fundraiser to start the Sandy Skate Park. And at that point in my life, I had never skated transition. I have never even been close to a real skate park, so I was really fucking excited. So we did that. From my understanding, the city of Sandy did not want us to have a skate park by any means, but what they agreed on was to give us a plot of land, and we had to raise the money and build it ourselves. So that's exactly what we fucking did. Brent Leibarger was there. He was actually one putting on his hands in the concrete along with like the old heads like Maddie and Noah and a lot of other people I just can't remember because I smoke too much weed. But yeah, it was a beautiful thing, and once it came to fruition, it that became my second home. And I'll tell you what, when I saw it get torn down, I was a little sad, but it was time. It needed a little revamp. That's for damn sure. But sorry, I got a little choked up there. But I just want to say thank you guys so much for having me on this podcast. Like, you guys are the life of Mount Hood. You guys are keeping that love alive, and I wish I could be there for it, but I can't. But I'm just glad you guys can be there to make shit happen and just keep the vibes going. You know what I mean? Like the right way. And thank you so much. Mount Hood Reports. Let's go.
So, memories of the Sandy skate park. For me, mostly just hanging out with the crew. Being able in Sandy, we just jump on the Mac or Sam and go to Taco Bell. Come back in evening sesh. I think that was the best time to skate Sandy. And then going back further, the crew being Justin Watts, Adam Watts, Nate Darns, Gabe Darns, Cam Weeg, and then all the OG homies just kind of always being there. The people who built it growing up, like my brother, Dusty Lamance, fucking the whole OG crew. I'm gonna miss a lot of people, but there's like Spurgeon Brothers, Robert Hahn, DeLon, Joey Parisi, Nick Krookenberg, even. Whatever happened to that guy? What's his name? Tony. I'm messing up his name, but Peyton. We got Richie. Can't forget about Richie. All those OG homies that were always there. Brent Liebarger. Those guys were always there, They were the ones who kind of helped raise me in skateboarding and teaching me, especially my brother. But yeah, I'll always kind of miss that. And just that crew growing up, they were the people who helped build that park. So hopefully we get to see them and see what they got to say about the new park. It's really sick. I'm excited for it. And yeah. So also, Sandy Skate Fest. Can't forget about the Sandy Skate Fest. That was fun. I kind of hope we have some new skate fests at the new park, but classic memories of the bands and people coming to skate the skate fest, having like a signature pro coming. Maybe Mikey Burton will come. Hey. Yeah, just getting some people out. And a good memory of a skate fest is placing and especially tying up with Justin Watts. He'll never let me let it down. So, memories. And furthermore, I'm just gonna keep throwing out names, but Eric Fouts, Willie Man, Chris Man, having people be a part of that. Willie Man's dad, John, who was helped build that wooden box that was there. We go to Spencer Cameron, his dad, who had Scooter Bum. There's Northern Alliance. They were big parts of. Well, Scooter Bum turned into Oregon Skate, but those people who were able, the skate shops, and Sandy, and even including NRC, if anybody remembers them. Mark, where is that guy? What's he up to? The people who got the Sandy community skate situation started. I'm excited for what else is to come from BDK, and they already do a lot. The Thursday skate sessions at Estacada. So I'm excited for the future.
Hey, my name's Nick Sarung. Just wanted to share some stories I had of the Sandy skate park. I think I was 10 when they first built it, and I came pretty shortly after that. Just a little Grom, probably showed up on a scooter and got hazed into riding a skateboard pretty soon after. That place was home for a lot of years. Lots of memories, don't even know where to start. So many friends that came and went, tricks that went down, shenanigans, and getting into trouble. But I think some of my fondest memories and things that I'm the most stoked on now is looking back was just some of the events. And the Sandy Skate Fest was just so epic. As a young kid, Sandy would do this little competition and bring pros. I think it was during the Sandy Mountain Festival, they would do a day. And I remember there being some booths. They would do different age bracket competitions. Just sort of best run, best vibes out sort of thing. And I just remember being stoked on that. Every year we talk about it, down at the skate park, just being oh man, I wonder who's going to win this year. Who's going to get sponsored by NRC, the old skate shop, or Northern Alliance. I don't know when they stopped doing that. But it was just so cool seeing pros and just people just ripping at the Sandy skate park. Back when the concrete was smooth, it was just a whole different park. All the fly out kings would come and put, trash cans coming out of the banks and stuff, start from the parking lot and just push. You could just get speed. It was just the different generations of the cement at Sandy skate park. But I'm still in shock that there's a new skate park there, and still a little bit heartbroken that the old one's gone. That was just part of my life, and but I am stoked to do some more skate festivals and events there. It would be so fun to get some teams to come out, some pros to come out, sponsor some events and just get kids stoked on skating and building community out there. I can't imagine the next generation that's gonna come out from having that park. Just feel super blessed to have that in my backyard. But I'm kind of rambling. I just wanted to share a little bit of love and light, and stoked on what y'all are doing. Would love to support you in any way I can. And much love to the Sandy skate community, old and new, all the people that are still doing it, keeping the fire alive, all the people that became a good old boy and started fishing, stopped skating, that moved away. Much love. I can't wait for the future.
Hey guys, it's Paul calling in about the Sandy Park, which was my hometown park, and I would say my favorite memory of the park, which there's so many, skate fests and endless nights there, and so many different, times. I would say my favorite part or favorite memory about the park was the park itself, because it wasn't necessarily perfect and not a lot of people took a liking to it. But the fact that it wasn't perfect, and you knew when you fell in certain sections of the park, you were probably going to lose some skin, and it was hell on the body at times, and it would cheese grate you. And the transition, or the bowl wasn't necessarily a bowl, it was a plate. And with all those variables and to work with what you got. You did have to push harder because the ground wasn't perfect, and I think that kind of gave it a slight street element just because it wasn't perfect. So I would say that's probably my favorite memory besides just so many other things that, I've experienced there. But for the new park, I would say, I haven't seen it in person. I've seen pictures of it and videos of it, and it's really big. It looks really big. I like it because it seems to cater to a lot of different styles of skateboarding, which is really rad. And for many years, this park was promised. For a long time, there was people that would come down and survey the park and, hey, what do we need in the new one? And the fact that it's here kind of blows my mind. So I'm really, really stoked on it. I hope it brings a lot of happiness to a lot of the, generations of skateboarders to come. And the podcast is turning out great. So much love, Don. And I appreciate you having me, send this message in because the old park still kind of holds a lot of good memories for me and a special place in my heart. So much love, guys. Take it easy.
Yo, Donovan, it's Degner. Dude, I'm listening to the podcast and it's super sick. But hey, on the second episode, you were talking about sponsoring the Scum of the Week, and I got some like a hat and golf balls and stickers for my U-Golf company. And I know it's not really shred related, but it's a local mobile business, and I'm down to sponsor one of the Scum of the Week. I have a bunch of stories. I just a fight with Robert Hans is pretty funny. It was a pretty interesting introduction to the Sandy skate park. And then one dude is John Mann. That's Willie Mann's dad. He was the dad of the skate park for the time I was there. And they built that wooden grind wall, that little box on the side. So that was a huge thing. And yeah, there's just a lot of shit that went down there. So and the whole, you should touch on the whole Wu-Tang thing. That was the Wu-Tang was a gang. The city of Sandy thought they're gonna deem it a gang because they're putting on everything. So that was a crazy thing that kind of happened down there, all the Wu-Tang stuff that was going on. So.
Yo, what up, Hood Report podcast? This is Cam Weeg coming at you with a story for the Sandy Skate Park. Well, I pretty much spent a lot of time there from when I first started skating there when I was 8 or 9 years old, right when the park got done. But I lived in Damascus, and when I got into the 8th grade, we had moved to Sandy School District. So I made a bunch of friends up there that skated, and I met Robert Solorio and Justin Watts and Adam Watts and Nate Darns and Josh Gibson, fucking Peyton Califf, all these dudes that just were insane rippers. Willie Mann, Eric Fouts, Brett Leibarger. There's so many people that, I don't know, were incredible skateboarders. They were amazing. And it was a fun place to go. Every night we would have an evening session. And every time it was dry out, we were skating. We'd start our mornings out there and skate all morning. Early. We'd get there at 8:30. We'd skate till about noon or 1 o'clock. We'd be just drenched in in sweat and dirty from skating all morning, and then we'd go to Taco Bell down in Sandy. We'd all ride our cruisers down there, hang out at Taco Bell for 3 hours, and we'd only get one giant large drink, and we would all share it with 6 straws, and we'd just put it in the middle. And after we'd have fucking 100 things of soda, Baja Blast. We'd go back up to the park, and then we'd have a evening session for till it got dark and you couldn't see. And pretty much 4 times out of a week, out of even if we skated every night, 7 nights, at least 4 times that week, the cops are kicking us out because we're skating so late. And it was like literally, they would pull up and be like, "Guys, it's so dark you can't see," and we'd just be laughing and be like, "It's fine." Um, yeah, those are the good times. I loved that park. It was a sick park. But the new park, it's hard to look at. It doesn't even seem like it's a real thing. Honestly, it's pretty surreal and it's dreamlike that we have a park like this here now. And it's definitely gotten me really excited to skateboard more. And it sucks that a new park's having to do that for me, but it's our local park and it's not far for me to drive, so it's just really easy to get to. And the access is so much easier to get to than like other parks. So I'm excited to start skateboarding more again. But I'll always miss that old park, and I'll always remember all the lines and good times and memories. But that's my memory of the park. Thanks for listening. Later.
Sandy Skate Park was where I started skating, learned everything around like 2016 or so. And like, it was always a little crusty, really not the best skate park ever. Like, you'd be better off falling on the concrete on the sidewalk than in there. It's a straight cheese grater. But there's always been like a little group of skaters that's always been around. Like, when I started going there's like 2 Daves. There's Big Dave, Little Dave, Chad, Cody, and Matt. Some of them don't really skate anymore. Like, I still see Cody around skating, Chad around skating. But Chad is like, I feel like a monumental piece of that old skate park. He like, who really knows, just went downhill over the years, but was one of the best skaters there actually. Like, could just casually ollie over every gap on that park that like you'd only see bikers do. And just always do like the craziest shit. I seen him nollie over the volcano with no shoes on, and I seen him nollie flip over the volcano. And he's like, even to this day, when I see him on a skateboard, he's got like nollie Casper flips and shit. But fucking, one of my favorite memories, because most of my birthdays are at the skate park, was when on my 18th birthday, Lex was there too. The fucking DC skateboarding team just showed up out of nowhere. I see this van pull up while we're all sitting there. And I see this guy with like really long curly hair that kind of just like looks like a hippie, and I'm like, whoa, what the fuck, is that Evan Smith? And he turns around and he's like looking at the park. I'm like, oh fuck, that is Evan Smith. And we all just run up and he's like, yeah, skating here before camp, this place looks cool. And then that honestly is like one of the days I saw probably like some of the best skating there. Wes Kramer, Evan Smith, Masaki Hongo, bunch of skate mafia DC guys. Wes Kramer frontside flipped the big hip, and then fucking Wes Kramer did heel flip indie over it. Like, there was the skate park was like a big street spot. Every little thing in there I felt like was a street spot. It took so much speed and energy to like get at one thing, to get a line through there. It was like a workout just because how crusty it was. And even John Gardner, that's what I forgot, he was there on my birthday too, ollied over the fence out of the park. That was crazy. But yeah, like I just can't wait for the new park. Can't wait to see all the OGs come back. Like Chris Ing, when he skates there, even at the old one, he would go like do the same trick on both sides of the wedge, the little hip, and like you could skate everything in that park, regular, switch. And then just meeting all the homies there, like that was always the meeting point. We'd always start at the Sandy Skate Park and then just go wherever from there. Sometimes you just stay there all day. I spent a lot of my days, middle school, high school, just there 24/7. Like, went from getting dropped off there to riding the bus home from there to driving there, and then yeah. And it's formed some good skateboarders like Chris Ing and Danny, especially. Danny's getting way too good. I remember first time seeing him at the park, and yeah, got to get Danny on here. Danny is especially one of my favorite skaters to come out of Sandy.
My favorite memory from Sandy Skate Park OG Sandy skate park has to be when the DC team came and skated it. That is probably one of the best sessions I've ever had in that park. I didn't even skate that much. I kind of just watched them skate. But I just remember trying to ollie into the bowl for the first time. And, like, right after I got it, like, I sit down, you know, my feet hurting. I'm just trying to chill, and then I see a van pull up. A very suspicious-looking van. And out of that van, a tall, just long-haired dude walks out. And I'm like, yo, is that Evan Smith? Everyone looks over. We're trying to analyze. We're like, I don't think so. Like, at first, we honestly were, like, kind of, I don't know. We were questioning it. We didn't know if it was or not. And then Wes Kramer walks out of there, and we're like, oh, okay, that has to be someone, right? And then Evan Smith comes up to us, and we start conversating, just like, yo, how you doing? And then we didn't even ask him his name at first. Like, we were like, what's up and stuff first. And then Tate was like, yo, are you Evan Smith? And then he's like, yeah, of course. Yeah, of course he was Evan Smith. And it was just like a mind-blowing experience. That was like the first time I've seen a pro. And that was just, how they skated that park was insane, because that park was just, it was low-key a hard park to skate, but it was so fun. Like, they made it look so fun, and I wish I could skate it like how they skated it, because I never got to do that. But it was just, like they had a roster. I swear it was like Wes Kramer, Evan Smith, Masaki. Those are honestly the only three I remember. There's probably John Gardner. John Gardner, he ollied over the fence out of the park, which was insane. It was like a fat ollie. I don't understand how he did that. I remember like just like watching him. I was just like, wow, like like holy, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, but that has to be probably one of my favorite memories at that park. Besides just like learning tricks and stuff. But that park, man, I miss that park. I wish I could see it again. But now we have a massive, amazing, like perfectly built park. And I'm so excited to just skate on it and like not get in trouble for skating on there. So that's going to be so fun. November 2nd. Can't wait. Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you to everyone that submitted. Much love to everybody, and thank you for making the skate park what it was. And I look forward to skating with everyone again at the new park. Let's just keep it going.
We'll see you on the 2nd at noon.
2nd
Rain
at
or
noon.
shine.
Yeah, what's going down?
We got some Boring Brew Co. beer. We're gonna have some barbecue from Sandlot. Tony Smiley is gonna be playing some Loop Ninja pop from the 80s and 90s, and there's gonna be giant golden scissors.
This is Saturday.
Who gets to do the
next Saturday?
cutting?
I was like, who's cutting? And John's like, I don't know. And I was
You
like,
are.
I want to. Oh. We are. And
I
he's
vote.
like,
We are.
good luck.
I vote the kids that are about to be taken, like the whoever's there. That's like the next gen.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think they all should get it.
I'm
get to be a part of
gonna
it.
say I'm doing it. Or whatever, we're doing it.
Minty's cutting the ribbon.
Yeah, and
Just
then I'll
cut
just
it.
get out of the way and be like, "Come here, little kid. Like this is your part or something." I don't know.
I don't
Good
know.
idea, Donovan.
The ribbon will be cut by somebody, and then skating will go down, rain or shine.
Saturday, November 2nd.
Yeah,
Noon to
noon.
2.
Noon to 2 is the festivities, and then the skate park's open. And the next Sunday is supposed to be sunny and dry.
Sick.
The day after, so we'll see you on
Oh,
next
okay,
Sunday.
cool.
Nice.
For sure.
Anything else you guys want to add before we close it up here?
Never stop dreaming.
Never stop dreaming. All right.
Sleep.
Shine
well
on,
and
Pony
often.
Boy. Shine on.
Make good life choices. Do as I say, not as I do.
Well, much love. Leif, thank you for being the co-host.
Thanks
of the
for having
show
me.
and doing Chudge. Minty, thank you for everything you did at the skate shop and for keeping the record spinning. Mike, thank you for your service both to our country and to the local skate scene here with BDK. Can't say
Thank you.
enough. So,
Yeah,
and everyone out
it's all
there that
good.
makes this place what it is, thank you very much. We will catch you next time. Hit him with the Hood Certified Classic.
What do you mean?
Another Hood Certified Classic.
Another Hood Certified Classic.
Yeah.